Jinkies, Fred. I told you I'm not good at human connection.
Will you run that by me again?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cheap Seat Critics. Today, we are covering the YouTube series Mystery Incorporated pilot episode, Welcome to Coolsville.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's random, I guess. This is our first YouTube series thing, not necessarily budget, movie or like actual aired show, so it's a bit different from us, but still something to cover. I got a little bit of facts to run through. Not as many as I would have liked to get, but still a couple.
I just want to point out, Springs, that it's amusing that we've done this numerous times now, and you forgot we have to introduce ourselves.
I keep forgetting. You know what? I certainly do. Go ahead, writer.
Hello, everyone. I'm a geeky writer.
I'm Crimson Rune.
Blank space for who's not here, and I'm Sprinks.
There you go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Sinister couldn't make it today.
Sorry, Springs. Facts, go.
Yes, sorry, I'm kerfuffled. So a couple facts about this show or series. It premiered on April 27th, 2022 of this year. It is written by, oh boy, I had his name, Dade Elza, who also is the actor of Fred Jones in the show.
Mm-hmm.
It's created by him and Jessica Chancellor, who Jessica plays Daphne Blake in the show.
Yeah, I think Daphne also has the actress also has a hand in the writing as well. I looked up a little bit of it as well.
Would not be surprised. That's probably true. Unfortunately, I could not find the pricing of what their initial
Indiegogo
budget was. Yeah, their budget was. I think there's a possibility it was $64,491. It could be that. I'm not sure because currently the information I do have is how much they're raising to make episode 2.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So that's something to put in mind. This is all, but all the budget for creating this series is from fans and backers trying to get this thing up and going, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah,
and it pays for all their lighting equipment, sound, VFX artists, Foley artists, editors. Goes into the whole production for them to create.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess I have a question for you too in regards to this being a fan film or show. Do you think if they got offered a streaming service, they should take it because that would have oversight?
I would definitely have caveats before accepting that offer, because right now they're free to make out their own vision.
I think they need to finish a season first.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to tone shift.
If like HBO's like we want your show.
I think
for season 2.
I think if they went with a streaming service during the season, like in between, I think it would look like Harry Potter 2 to 3. Still Harry Potter, but it's vastly different.
Yeah. I kind of agree with Springs on that, and like I said, I would want them to finish their at least their initial planned season before I want them to accept, and I would want them to accept because this is far
better than you thought.
Yeah, far better than it had any right to be. And I guess my main concern would be is if a studio did approach them, and I don't want the studio to have it depends on how much freedom that they would be getting still to create this vision.
I don't want them limited.
Yeah. They're, like I said, because right now they're not tied to anything, and I think that works only to their benefit.
Yeah, I think it would still have their creative freedom, snatch it while they can. If they get limited, then they should keep it a passion project, even if it doesn't make them really any profit.
Yeah.
I guess we can start with our history on Scooby-Doo, classic Hanna-Barbera cartoon show, or
It's
anything
timeless.
afterwards.
Yeah.
You know, from the start of
Scooby Dooby Doo,
1969
where
yeah,
are you? That
to
one.
now. And let's go with a writer.
Yeah. Um. So I guess my Scooby Doo history has been rather turbulent in that, like, I loved the show growing up. I haven't seen much of it, and then I loved it kind of like in my late elementary school years. Like, so I watched it like in when I was being raised, and to the point where I was in elementary school, and then I kind of stepped away from it, and then I came back to it later in high school. Um, I was raised in the original show, uh, in the with the, like, the "Where Are You" theme song,
Yeah,
um,
the
and
classic 70s.
yeah, and I remember very very fondly loving it. Um, I think what I really loved about the classic one was the mysteries were never necessarily paranormal, and they were always grounded, and that was part of the kind of unmasking that always took place. The whole the aha moment when you got your light bulb, when you figured out with the gang. Mm. It definitely
Man Withers.
yeah, it definitely appealed to my I guess it really helped instill into me at a very young age my love of mystery. Um, and growing up, I remember watching the early 2000, late 90s show. It wasn't necessarily a reboot. It was just a bit of a continuation almost. At least it felt like, because the animation style was very very close to the original. Um, I don't remember this one as much, because I just said, for I guess for me, like, delving in the mystery incorporated gang delving into the paranormal is new for me, because I didn't watch the newer shows that came out in the, like, 2015. I didn't watch the late 2000s show.
Oh, that reason. Okay.
Yeah, and I also didn't. I remember watching the live action movies. I remember not really liking them. Though I still had fun with them, I guess, as a kid. I, it was, they were just kind of meh to me overall, though. Um,
How long ago would you say you saw the live action movies?
oh, it's no idea. I was young.
Like
And
elementary
by
school then?
by
Yeah,
live action, you mean the James Gunn ones?
possibly. Did James Gunn do those?
Yeah,
I
or at
think
least the
he
first
wrote
one.
them.
That
The first
would
one he was definitely
that
part
would
of for
explain
sure.
that explains a lot about them, actually. This is the weird way that
The
those were.
Matthew Lillard ones.
Yeah,
Matthew Lillard is Shaggy, and
yeah.
Fred. Gosh, what's his name? Freddie Prince Jr.
Yeah.
Freddie? His name is Freddie?
I'm trying to remember. I think so.
Sarah Michelle Gellar and as Daphne and freaking I forgot her name. Cardellini. Linda Cardellini. There we go.
It was Velma.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is Freddie Prince Jr.
So they got a guy named Freddie to play Fred.
Yeah.
Nice. And I think him and Sarah Michelle Gellar are married right now, I think.
Yep. They did get married.
Scooby-Doo bringing people together, as it always did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess my last thing is more for just the sake of fun. As I was as a child, as I am now, still crush on Velma a lot, pretty much. So, and I'll,
Jinkies.
yeah,
Yeah,
with,
you shared a little bit of that info with us.
yeah.
In regards to this show.
Oh yeah, like it reignited a lot of old feelings there, for childhood crush. That's what this did. So, kudos to the actress. You played her really really well. And with that,
you got the awkward girl part down.
yeah, like I said, my crushes are usually awkward, nerdy, and quirky, or problematic. So with that, I'll pass this over to you, Crimson.
Yeah, Diane Hutton.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, I watched a lot of Boomerang as a child, so I saw a lot of the old Scooby-Doo stuff. Saw the original, and sometimes when like the short series, like Scooby-Doo and Scrappy or whatever that one was called, whenever that would pop on and see it. Sometimes some of the team up stuff. Saw a lot of Pup Named Scooby-Doo, whenever that was on TV. Every time before school, this was predominantly elementary school, and I think sixth grade in middle school. Uh, every every day before I go to the bus, I watched an episode of What's New Scooby Doo and Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. So that was pretty much a daily occurrence. Was watching Scooby Doo. I've seen both the live action ones we've referenced and the Scooby Doo Begins prequel of those with the philately.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. I did not see the follow up to that one. Sprinks, you recall the name of that one?
No.
Scooby Doo and something Lagoon, I think. But
Oh, was it like
yeah,
the Loch Ness Monster Lagoon or something like that? No, the Loch Ness Monster was its own
no,
movie, wasn't it?
yeah they had an animated movie for the Loch Ness Monster, which was
Okay.
a good one too. I saw a lot of the for TV animated movies.
Yeah, so did I. Those were all good. Or
It's just
I
Curse
remember
of the Lake Monster.
I remember enjoying
And
those as well. So
and I saw I guess their big movies like Zombie Island and stuff. So yeah, and I had some Scooby Doo toys as well, and I had the Scooby Doo Cyber Chase PlayStation 1 game, and a Scooby Doo board game. But I don't remember what type of game that was. So yeah, pretty rich Scooby Doo history in my past. And, we're pretty good with that. Spricks.
So my dad introduced me to Scooby-Doo at a very young age of the classics, of the original show and I think it was just called the Scooby-Doo show, kind of like the newer-ish ones he had on DVD. So I watched those quite a bit. And then, of course, also one of the team-ups that he had was Scooby-Doo meets Batman.
oh my
watched that one a
god, I
lot.
was gonna bring that up at the end, but yeah.
Yeah, I watched that one a lot, which an early set of my attachment to Batman. Let's
Yes.
do that.
I
But yeah, Scooby Doo.
sorry. I guess
Oh,
I have a personal question for you because of I guess with how you started. Did your old Scooby Doo cartoon come with like other cartoons on it? Like my Scooby Doo original Scooby Doo just came with Tom and Jerry and a few other Looney Tunes.
on the DVD, I don't think so. I think the DVD was just Scooby Doo episodes.
Okay.
And then I think it was still around that same time. I watched some of the old Scooby Doo movies, like Scooby Doo and the Booze Brothers or Scooby Doo Goes to Hollywood. I think those were still around the same time. And then when I got a little older, I got to watch Scooby Doo Zombie Island. And Scooby Doo Zombie Island really blew me away because of how just more serious and scary, I guess it was, compared to the other ones. Because the other ones is, they take the mask off and it's a person.
Yeah.
Which kind of is a nice lesson that, like, humans are the monsters, which is kind of nice. But in this one, it's actual zombies and actual cat creatures and real monsters. And I thought that was awesome. And then I didn't really get much of a history with Witch's Ghost and the alien one. I can't remember the alien one name.
Invasion or something?
Something like that.
Invasion
And
was
then,
one name.
yeah. And Cyber Chase. Cyber Chase was another one I watched a lot.
Yeah, that one was
yeah.
one I watched the most.
I remember a lot of Cyber Chase as well.
So those straight to VHS movies I
Play
watched.
ball.
Yeah, it was Zombie Island and Cyber Chase I watched the most. And then I saw the live action ones with the cast we already ran out, and I thought the first one was fine. First one was good. It had definitely an odd CGI looking back on it. But the second one I thought was way better because the second one brought back monsters and characters from the old cartoon show that I saw which gave me that nostalgia factor of connecting. So I really liked the second one more. And then I remember visiting my grandma and watching what was it? Scooby-Doo, Scooby and Shaggy Get a Clue, which I could not tell you anything in any of those episodes. It's just one of the shows I watched.
Mm-hmm.
And then Crimson tried to get me into watching Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, the kind of newer Scooby-Doo show, which I saw a couple episodes in.
Scooby-Doo series that had an overarching storyline. It wasn't just Monster of the Week.
Yeah. And I think that's about it. Yeah, that's about it. I did see the Daphne and Velma show advertised. It never captured my interest. Never drew me in.
I don't think it captured anyone's attention.
Yeah. For the Mr. Incorporated show, I've seen some clips of it and some scanned images, but I haven't really been on the Scooby-Doo trail in a long while. The only reason I know the Zombie Island movie exists is because I was reading fan fiction this morning when I first woke up out of bed. So
watch that.
What?
You didn't know it existed till today?
Yep. Didn't know it existed until like 8:30 in the morning when I decided when I read a really, really dark fan fiction.
That's like the best one.
Yeah, that's the iconic Scooby-Doo thing. Everyone that likes Scooby-Doo likes that movie.
Didn't know it existed until today. So I have homework for myself tonight. Is what I've decided to do.
It also probably has the best Scooby-Doo song in a movie. Terror Time Again. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I know.
You don't like the Hex Girls, which is kind of relevant.
Were they first introduced in Witch's Ghost, or were they before?
Oh,
okay.
I think
first introduced.
I thought it was from Witch's Ghost because I do remember roughly that movie because that's the movie where Ben Ravencroft shows up, right? Like I'm not.
Yeah, Benjamin Ravencroft.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know they're also in What's New Scooby-Doo, which is another
Scooby-Doo.
It's
and
another show
they're
I
in
watch
Mystery Incorporated, the animated one. They pop up in several.
I said
both of those were after.
Yeah, as I said, I'm more familiar with the humans or the monsters aspect. Like I don't remember much about anything that happened in the paranormal era for Scooby-Doo because either that was just blocked out or got replaced by like other things because I don't remember the gang themselves dealing with a lot of paranormal. So this is I was fairly fresh going into this with the concept of paranormal showing up.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I guess that's a nice twist and turn on you for this being your first interaction into that version of Scooby-Doo.
The first interaction I can
for me,
remember,
it was Zombie
at
Island.
least.
Well, we saw the live-action ones, which had real monsters. So.
That's true.
Yeah, but like I said, at best I can remember. I don't remember the live-action ones very well. I know that I saw them, and that's pretty much it.
More reason to see those again.
And the CG dog. I remember the CG dog.
We need to have a Scooby-Doo marathon with you.
Well,
right?
you know, this knowledge of just hearing it now, it might be a pick. Who knows?
Could be.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be more willing to watch the animated shows than the live-action ones. But if we're gonna cover live-action, I'll be there for it. Like I said, I love Mr. Incorporated. I love all the characters. So
I do agree. Every single character does fit. They're all different, but they all fit, which I think is great. They're a good band of misfits. Or my mistake. A good band of meddling kids, and they're dumb dog.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like just their dynamic always great to me, and I love the kind of found family aspect that they always had.
Yeah. Except in what was it, Scooby-Doo Begins, that live action movie? That was very choppy. Trying to create a family in that one.
Yeah, that one was not good. Not good at all. I mean, that one looked worse than this. This is a fan film.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, there's something I read about this Mr. Incorporated YouTube series. I'm gonna say that so it doesn't get confused with the cartoon Mr. Incorporated.
Mm-hmm.
Is that they have stated they will not budge or change how they want it to look, the quality of the show. If they can't reach the quality they want, they will not come out with it.
Good for them. No.
So I think that's very nice. They're not going to be like, this is all the money we raised, we got to make it with what we do. They're like, no, we're going to wait until we can make what we want to do.
Mm-hmm. And
So.
is episode 2 fully funded?
I
believe
don't.
so. It's at like 70,000.
I think it's at
Right.
76,000 currently, which I think is met the stretch goal of a 30 minutes of the show.
Okay.
Uh,
I think 100,000 is the full show. I can't recall.
Okay. So like
Then
I guess
they have to-
it would be about
that's-
10,000 for 10 minutes, I guess.
I think so. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Time for us to start donating.
I know. Donate to the podcast so I can donate to the show.
Yeah, 100,000 is for a full hour length episode.
Okay.
Okay, then I guess they haven't met their goal yet.
And they're looking for 1 million to do the entire season. Which their season, I think they said they're looking to do 12 episodes.
Okay.
Cool. I mean,
I saw their tiers for donations, and hey, if you want to give them $5,000, you get to go on set with them.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I do like seeing how much, especially being a fan project, just how much love and care is being put into it, and
yeah. I mean, this show's better than like really high budget productions that come out today. So, I mean, keep up the
Yeah.
good work.
I know earlier we said if a streaming service or something asked them if they got something from CW, please turn it down.
Oh, CW, yeah, turn that down. That's just a game.
Unless you are getting creative freedom, fucking turn that shit down.
Yeah. Anyway, with that, the two of you have anything else to say before we dive on in?
Check out my pics, little man.
Well, that's not being covered in this one, Crimson.
I know. It had to be said at some point during this.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Ultra Instinct mode Shaggy still, but I think we'll get there. There'll be a reference to it somewhere.
Oh yeah, that's in the Multiverses game. That's,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also from a not great Scooby-Doo. That was the movie, right?
It was a
Right,
movie, yeah.
Yeah, that one wasn't a very good one either. So I love that. the
Oh, was
movie
that
came out of
Scoob?
that.
The newer one?
No, that wasn't Scoob. No,
Listen,
no.
sometimes memes are what make something great. I mean, just look at Morbius.
True.
No,
boy.
Sprinks, it was one of the animated movies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anywho's,
Yeah.
let's dive into Mystery Incorporated. Welcome to Coolsville.
All right.
So, we're gonna go roughly scene by scene, since it's just one episode of a show pilot for structuring. So we start with just kind of overlooking the. Oh,
One more thing. Are we just chiming in when you have something to say?
yeah. Just go ahead and chime in. That's fine.
Okay.
Also, I'll see if I can point out one of you if I got, if I want to get your opinion of something. So it starts off with just kind of an overview of the town of Coolsville, which looks very big.
Yeah.
Way bigger than I thought. I thought it was going to be like an outskirts town, but no, it's a fully fledged town.
And it works to its benefit, I think.
Oh yeah. I think, and it's being narrated over currently by Archie. Oh wait, by Fred Jones. Narrating what's going on.
This
Sorry,
isn't
that's
Abs
the
the
joke I had to throw
musical,
in.
all right?
Yeah. And it shows. It just kind of goes character by character of the game.
Yeah, I like
what
that
they're
we
just gonna
kind
have
of pan through all the characters. It's a nice setup, I think. This whole sequence of narration.
I agree. I think it's nice to show them in from the beginning and get go of like, oh, okay, that's that one, before actually just like surprisingly throwing them in the show to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a softer, I guess not a blow, but like just a softer introduction.
Also, like during his monologue, he was given descriptors of the citizens of Coolsville, but every descriptor he gave cut to a different character, which
Yeah.
was a trait of theirs. Like Fred was family, Daphne was pride, Velma was honor and achievement, and Shaggy was blissfully ignorant.
Yeah, I can agree with that. They accomplish a lot, what a lot of shows really struggle to do, which is they lay a groundwork and foundation within like 50 seconds. I think was
Yeah.
it was 50 seconds. I
In
think
less than a minute.
less than a minute. They've done more legwork than the Halo TV show did in their pilot, just to just to kind of put it in perspective. Just because
Called out there,
uh,
Halo.
well, yeah, because I'm a fan. Not the show, the games.
Well, I'm sure if Coolsville was on Madrigal, it would be a completely different story.
Yes, it would.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a very, very strong opening because it establishes like where all of our characters are, what they're doing, a little bit of what their traits are, what the town is like. It's the groundwork is set for it to go wrong, pretty much.
Yeah. Crimson, did you have anything else for that?
Yeah, I had a question for you, Sprinks, since you're more knowledgeable on the Scooby lore. Are you glad that they went with Coolsville instead of Crystal Cove?
Yes,
The setting?
I actually am.
Okay.
I do like Coolsville, and I don't think Coolsville sucks.
Especially not
Nice.
here, because I mean, I think here like it feels like a flushed out real place. So
I also like how very bright and vibrant it is during this whole intro scene. when
yes,
Established everybody. It's looked pretty nice.
I think that's a very Riverdale thing. And this just being said, I've seen
Why
the
ruin it
first.
for me? Why'd you do that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I've seen the first three seasons of Riverdale and a little bit of season 4.
I've seen the first 3.5. No, the first. We stopped in season 3, right, Springs?
Yeah, Ryder. I think we stopped at the same time.
Oh, we did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, we've seen about the same amount.
And Crimson, I think you've only seen the pilot of Riverdale.
Pilot
And the
then
episode
one where
that-
there was a party.
Yeah,
going
we
on.
dragged him for a movie night for him to see the party for Jughead's birthday.
Oh, weirdo. I don't fit in.
Yes.
Doo-doo.
Anywho.
Yeah, take it away.
So we get it's all nice, happy, bright, to the lightning storm dark night,
Yeah,
which
the
is,
excellent audio visuals. Just saying.
yes, I do think the lighting was very good of recreating the lightning in the room. It wasn't just one flash; it was kind of one in like pop kind of flashes, like actual lightning.
Yeah. Some actual care was put in.
And then Fred hears a scream, grabs a bat, and goes downstairs as the shirtless hero.
Yep. I actually wrote down in my notes. I'm like, he grabs a bat. Smart character. Like, actually, he didn't immediately charge downstairs. He prepped before he went.
It also makes sense that he has a bat because he's a baseball player.
Yeah.
Just look at all these layers.
Like I said, it really they do so much work for this character in like the 5 seconds he wakes up. He wakes up, grabs his bat, passes by all his fucking like trophies and achievements for being a baseball player as he goes downstairs. And there's a lot done here.
Yeah, and then downstairs there's a YouTube play button on the wall, which means someone in his family is a YouTuber.
It's his mom. His mom does cooking videos.
Oh, cooking videos. All right.
That's just lore I'm putting in there.
I'm okay with that. Headcanon accepted.
I know we're giving this show a lot of praise, which it deserves right now, but I do have my first gripe, which is a little thing. My first little thing. When Fred's coming down the stairs, above him is the lighting of the lightning, but there's no lighting in front of him. And then it goes to his parents on the floor at the end of the stairs, and there's lighting hitting them. So there's definitely like an open drape or something for that lightning to shine through. So that's my only problem, is that lighting didn't match.
Oh, okay.
I guess that's more like a continuity error, I suppose.
I was it like, 'cause wasn't
Yeah.
he like in a hallway as he was walking down though? So like, where would you get lightning on him directly in the hallway?
Oh,
So
it was
the-
an exposed
On him.
staircase.
Oh, it was an
right?
exposed staircase.
So-
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it necessarily needed to hit Fred, but the wall on the right that was shown. Maybe some shadowing or movement, lighting there. But still, just a small thing. They still had the lightning upstairs and still being shown, and then downstairs, so it was still during the whole thing. So,
Alright,
and
so
then
that's-
Fred
That's out of character.
Fred sees his mom and dad dead on the ground, and a black cloaked Dementor Jawa red-eyed demon thing looking
Looks
at
like a
him.
wraith.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's spooky. Kind of. The editing they did for him to be spooky, I don't think was very good. Personally,
It is
The cut back forth turn.
It-
like
it was
the
very
jump
cheesy.
cuts. It was definitely very cheesy. I think the tweak I would have made to this scene, and I'm a writer, so take my visual director commentary as you will. I think the tweak that would have worked better is lightning flashes are what lights his movements. So like he is in the dark pretty much until lightning strikes him, and then you can see him move in between lightning strikes, kind of.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that would be good.
I think that would have been less jarring, and you would have still accomplished the same fearful effect, I think.
I agree.
And then that goes to the title, which is very short and sweet.
I have already downloaded the song.
Yeah, I've been listening to it all morning.
You've
Yep.
been listening to Mystery?
Yep.
Mystery, yeah.
It's a good song. Fuck
I'm
yeah.
not gonna-
Ricky
I'm-
Manning.
I'm in the same boat. It's good.
Yes, it
Good song.
is.
Too bad it's short.
I know. I was hoping for like a 4-minute, 3-minute song. It's a minute and 50 seconds. I'm like, all right, it's good. So that works in your favor.
Springs, I'm not surprised you listen to it because you listen to a lot of
I do.
like soundtrack stuff. So that was not
I
too
do.
surprising.
I think it's a very good song that fits
Oh yeah.
the tone and the feel that the show's going for, and yeah, it works very well. I also I guess since we're talking about something I really like is they don't keep using that same song throughout the whole episode.
Oh yeah, like in the
Yeah, it's
third
pretty much-
season of I already forgot the name because that's how much I cared about the
Quantico.
show.
Come
Yeah.
Oh. Season 3 of Quantico, they had one song that they just kept using the entire season.
Yep,
They had a couple versions of it. Like we had a Irish version.
with bagpipes, but it was the same song over and over again for the entire season. And it's also the intro music as well, which doesn't help. So you're guaranteed it at least once an episode, and then you hear it at least 4 more times per episode.
I think that's just very good. Like that's the theme they've stuck to, but it's not overused.
Yeah.
And then after the title cuts to an outside shot, very foresty, very nice.
Of a mansion.
The Blake Manor. Yeah.
Yeah, with some
Where-
poppy music.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely gives that
Riverdale
teen-
vibe.
that teen drama vibe.
Yeah.
And then we got Daphne Blake checking herself out in the mirror in the morning, getting herself ready for school. But
Putting on a fake smile.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
she's practicing a fake smile. Man, you're doing a lot of character work here, and it's great. You're putting a smile on my face over here.
and then she has a interaction with her mom in the morning, which I think the acting of the mom not the strongest.
I'm glad we agree. I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, but what is said with not over the top telling, but that like Daphne's mom, I guess Mrs. Blake, I can't remember her first name, but
Martha.
Mrs. Blake is very Mrs. Blake is very controlling of Daphne's appearance.
Yeah, she's very appearance matters to her mom.
Well, yeah, she's definitely like a pageant queen mom for sure. No fat or carbs, but I want French toast.
Yeah, no French toast.
Yeah.
Something about this that I thought was I wrote down in my notes, which was a bit interesting, which I think is still fine, is Mrs. Blake was very, stated that she's looking out for Daphne's appearance, but Daphne's hair is frizzled. It's not straight combed or taken care of. There's like loose strands kind of sticking out. But
ends.
yeah,
A nice little odd detail I noticed in the transition from, I guess, I like the mirror look of her because the D for her name is backwards, and I guess added some of the symbolism for me here.
oh,
I saw the necklace. I didn't really see symbolism behind that. But
right. Or do you connect that like she's against the family name kind of thing?
I connected to that she's putting on a, like I said, I connected it more of a, like she's putting on a mask still. Like she doesn't like her life, and I think that supports a lot of what's to come even in this episode.
Yeah.
Her mom refers to her as a blank, right? I didn't mishear that.
Blake. I thought it like
Blake.
we are Blake.
I did mishear it. Okay.
Yeah.
I heard blank. I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
So
I know. For a little
So that
fun,
makes sense,
a little
then.
fun thing for me is you Springs, you told me to expect a lot of references when it came to this. For some reason, my mind immediately went to Ruby when I heard that.
Oh,
And then I realized now, and then I realized immediately after, like, oh yeah, that's her last name. Then that makes more sense. I'm like, why are we referencing that?
Daphne Blake, coast to coast.
Useful in this town.
Did either of you two have any finishing thoughts on Daphne and her mom?
No, that pretty much covered it.
Yeah, I didn't.
For me.
I don't know. I didn't think she was a necessarily strong actor. I thought she still got the point across, which is that
I agree. Yeah.
definitely felt like old blood heiress family kind of situation, and I think the actress here does who's playing Daphne does an amazing job with all her expressions, so you can get all of those conflicting emotions across. Even from the mirror to the interactions with her mom, you can see when the mask like cracks, and then you can see it when it's back in place. I thought it was really well done. She did a great job.
I guess in terms of writing in the scene as well, the mom felt like a cartoon mom, I think.
A little bit.
Oh.
I do think that I guess to kind of hop on that Crimson a little bit. I did find her dialogue to be very generically so like Eris' mom. Like it was definitely over the top. I will say it was good for. I guess it helped me to understand very quickly who this person is, but I do agree that it felt very over the top and leaning more into the cartoonish side. As there are a lot of cheesy lines of dialogue in this, that being said, I do not think it lacks for charm.
Yeah, I think it did its job. Just an observation I had on it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So then we cut to a house, a much smaller standard house from the Blake Manor, which is where we get shown Norval, Shaggy, Rogers, and Scoob.
Yeah, and I cannot overstate how wonderful it is to have a real dog as Scooby.
Yes. What dog is Scooby? I should know this, but
he's a
I want to say
Dane.
Great Dane.
Yeah,
Great Dane. Okay.
Yeah. I think he's I think he's supposed to be at least in this. He's a Dane. He's somewhere between a Dane and a Shepherd.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not the best with dog breeds.
Well, I say this dog looks like Scooby-Doo.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Excellent casting for the dog.
And might I add, you can tell it's a male.
Well, yes.
Jeez.
I believe the dog's name's Thor.
In real life, yes. In real life,
I think in real life, I think it's in the credits. Let's just Thor.
Yes.
And then we got the classic Scooby snack, which in this is very small.
I know. It's not what I was expecting. I was expecting like a dog biscuit, but it was just a tiny little dog treat.
Having had to rewatch the episode for screenshots, I noticed a fair amount of things. They did a very good job of hiding it, but I did notice on my second view, they got him to come lick Shaggy awake because he was holding treats for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that. And that happened a couple times in this episode where you could see the dog was more interested in what was in people's hands
Yeah.
instead of.
It's
the
okay. Like I
person.
said, I still prefer this over CGI. It's just, I think it's one of the things that they'll fix as they go, or they'll learn as they go. Then
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna put this real Scooby-Doo dog in a dress to get on a plane. So I
no.
think
Hey,
we're fine.
we don't know. We don't know. It's not likely.
And then Shaggy's dad comes in with a line of like another not good acting.
You're making me late, son, or something like that.
Yeah, for me, yeah. When he comes in, like you're late. No, what are you doing? What is this mess? Just to me, it's like yes, that's dad talk, which could also fit under the cartoon dad. But the first deliverance of it, I didn't think was very strong. But the conversation afterwards between Shaggy and his dad, I think was fine.
Yeah.
I actually liked it. I thought it felt if the tone matched the show, the way he acted in it, and I agree. It also was cartoony dad as well. I felt like his acting matched the show. Personally, I also like his dad as a character. I liked him.
I don't think
Sheriff
I'm trying to replace it in my head. I don't think I had any issues with his acting necessarily. I think the weakest part of the scene was the opening line, because the opening line itself, I thought the dialogue was that to me should have been like
Written differently.
Not necessarily written differently. I think he needed to enunciate the opening line differently. I think the rest of the scene plays out fine though, because like the tone of voice in his line was off to me.
I guess that's what I meant to say. I guess along those lines, writer. It's just that first deliverance of Sheriff Rogers coming into the room to me was weak.
Yeah.
I just said acting. I get
Yeah.
But the rest of it I think was fine.
Okay.
How do you feel about their integration of Zoinks?
I think it was fine. I think the integration of all the catchphrases worked well.
It was as natural as they could possibly make it. Unfortunately,
he used it
it's
damn.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. He used it like damn, pretty much like, or
back in my day, it was yes and sir.
Yeah, it's like damn, dad, instead of he says zoinks, and I'm like, they made it as natural as they could, because it's that phrase is not in style anymore, and hopefully the show will bring it back, but I think they did it as naturally as they could, so I was okay with how they introduced that.
And then there's a line that came out that I written down because I played it over a couple times and I just kept hearing a different word, and I know what he's trying to say, but when Shaggy responds with like responding to his dad like gee thanks, his dad says
Dad. Yeah.
his dad says there you go, not so bad, sounding like and it sounds like he says humane, not human.
Yeah.
So humane being now, is it? And I don't know if that's purposeful.
I don't think so. Because it's not like Shaggy's inhumane, right? So I think it was just pronunciation problem.
I don't think it's. Yeah, I didn't think it was on purpose either. It'd be because I think he would have to, if he was gonna deliver that line in a purposeful manner. I think we would have to have a little more
stricter.
Yeah. Again, I think again it would be his. It wouldn't be his. It would be the delivery of the line, not really his acting. It just he would have to enunciate the line differently. I'm trying to remember the actual word for that. Enunciate, facilitate, alliterate? No, that's not it either. I'll remember the right word at some point.
Exclamation.
Yeah.
That's different.
I noticed a copy of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone on Shaggy's bookcase. all I
Interesting.
can connect to that is that's one of the banned books listed for libraries, so kind of gives Shaggy that rebel feel.
All right.
That's the
Well,
connection I
why
made
am
to
I
that.
not surprised that it's a banned book?
Yeah, I don't know on that
Not
one.
that I'm a fan of J.K.'s writing. Spoiler alert. It's just I'm not surprised that it's banned.
That's just it was a prominent book shown.
Yeah.
So that was my connection of why they chose that book specifically to be there.
Yeah. I think.
Also, it's about kids.
Yeah. I also wanna point out the fact that I really like that Shaggy is talking to Scooby.
Yeah, showing he's not all there. Probably, he's lonely.
Yeah, I think it's more that he's lonely. In the same way that Geralt always talked to his horse Roach. I talk to my dog when I'm by myself all the time, and I talk to my pets. So that to me was
Well,
one of the most important fundamental things, is that Shaggy needed to be talking at Scooby.
I
So
talk to my dog, but I don't have conversations with my dog. They're kind of two different things.
well, I know. I mean, well, I'm a
I
writer,
don't
so I'm not
fake
sane.
I don't fake a response from my dog.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm a writer, so I'm not sane. Just bear that in mind. So I do have full conversations with my dog.
Um, I only have one last thing to say about this scene before it goes to the next. Is when Shaggy's putting on his sweatshirt, in the back corner, like under his window, there's a Winnie the Pooh stuffed animal. And to me, connecting to what you two are saying, I think the connection I got out of that is Christopher Robin talks to his toy bear, and has all these like he's an animated life, like has his own adventures and everything, which is kind of like Scooby-Doo, this animated talking dog that does all these adventures. So I made the connection between those two.
Oh, that's nice. I guess for writing purposes, the last thing we need to say about this scene, though, or at least one of the last things we need to say, is that Shaggy's dad is the sheriff of the town.
Yeah, Sheriff Rogers.
yeah, I think this introduction to Shaggy is pretty good. Just like with Daphne and Fred,
Yeah.
giving little hints, because like Shaggy smells his shirt before he puts it on.
Yeah.
He does a sniff test. And he's got a messy room. He's been skipping school a lot. So you get to know a lot about him in this, 2-minute introduction?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
Which again, I agree. Something they're doing very good is they're not spending a lot of time on something, but with the time they are using, it's saying a lot.
Yes, it is. Everything is very purposeful, and it's clearly a lot of love and effort being put in.
I think that's all I got for that scene.
That's all I got too.
All right. Next on, we go to what sounds like just I don't know what kind of music. Just rock.
I guess just workout.
It's your workout hype music. I definitely have my moments where I listen to my hype music too.
It reminded me of the song "I'm Just a Kid and Life Is a Nightmare."
The kid
It
and
sounded,
life
it,
is a
it sounded kind of
nightmare.
like that beat, the same kind of feel to it. I don't think that's a connection that was perfectly made,
No.
but still. So then we see Fred lifting some weights, trying to, I guess, focus on something else other than the murder of his parents. But of course, that's the only thing on his mind. And something I noticed is, while Fred's doing weights, he has a tattoo.
I didn't notice
I
that.
didn't
What was
see
that
that.
tattoo of?
Well, I can't really tell. It's in some language. It's writing underneath his left bicep, I think.
Do they make an effort to show it? Is it an actor tattoo or a character tattoo?
That's
That's
a
the
question.
question.
They never touch on it at any other time, so I'm not sure. But I'm
If
sure
it's
if
just
it
there
wasn't,
without being like looking prominent, it's probably just an actor tattoo.
yes,
I
I'm
guess.
thinking it's more. It could be more than likely the actor tattoo. But then I also think with how much effort they're putting in this, they could have covered it up.
Um,
Well,
Oh,
I didn't
well-
even notice
no.
it, so I don't know. I can't say.
yeah, I can't say because I also didn't notice. So I got nothing to say on that one.
All good. Unfortunately, I couldn't make out what it said or anything.
And
Um,
he is doing weights.
Yep. He's doing weights, shows kind of memories of the killer with
Yeah.
with an additional scene of him on his knees crying, which I like. They don't just keep reusing the same thing. They add something to it,
Yeah.
which I think is nice.
I wrote in my notes "funny scream" because I think that was his worst acting in this, was that scream.
I unfortunately agree. The scream kind of threw me out a little bit. I still love the scene and concept because I do like that we're going back and seeing something new. I don't think his scream was particularly well delivered. I didn't necessarily need him to scream either. I could have had him just breaking down into tears, if that would have been easier. Yeah, it felt clunky almost, the scream.
Yeah, it just I guess formulaic. I guess good word. It's like to be expected. I guess, and I don't think Fred, as the character we've seen, would do that. I think he would have just done the breakdown, like you described.
Yeah. That's a very minor character thing from what I understand Fred to be, at least so far. The minor breakdown does come across as something he is more likely to do. But if they wanted the cliche scream, I was not the best delivery.
I agree.
All right, and then Fred gets frustrated and throws, I think, a weight or something.
Throw something.
Relatively light.
Yeah.
And then in comes Devin, Skylar, and Seth Summers.
Man, what a bunch of awesome characters. I'm excited to hear Ryder's thoughts on these.
This was, I like Fred a lot in this scene because he holds himself back because these guys are.
These are cartoon bullies.
These are 100% cartoon bullies.
Yeah.
Like they got pulled out of Riverdale High to be here, kind of bullies.
Dude, Seth Summers is relentless.
Oh my goodness!
What he's
so
saying.
unrealistic.
The constant like poking at the dead dad. I'm like, Jesus Christ!
Oh, your dad didn't teach you that, did he?
Yeah, this scene was kind of frustrating. I actually wrote down on my notes, like I wrote down on my notes. Don't lean into Riverdale. You started off good, but this is starting to go back in the other direction now.
Yeah, I was trying to think like, what has Fred done to Seth to deserve that?
He's a baseball player.
He's a better baseball player.
Well, Seth's a football player. So.
Yeah, well,
Sports.
I'm assuming Seth went to football because Fred just beat him up or something every day in class. At this point, that's the only way that this could be justified. There is nothing to support that. But yeah, I don't think this is a very like overdone introduction for the bully characters. Like, it's done to an extreme to where I don't take them seriously, almost, or I don't want to take them seriously.
I think that's all the jocks in this show. I think they were the worst part of this episode, was just all the jocks and their scenes, pretty much.
There is probably one scene with the jocks that I like, and we'll get to that. But it's not a very strong scene because. Like, it starts out really good with the intercut flashbacks. And I think here's where we delve into Riverdale-ish cartoon. And the dissonance there was very, very steep drop for me. I think... I think that's pretty much all I got for it. Other than just, it wasn't... I could probably go into detail about the dialogue and stuff, but I've been talking too much about it, so...
Yeah, I just hope in later episodes they dive into why Seth doesn't like Fred.
That's something.
We got none of that.
This is because of the scene. It's established that they actually need to do that. So,
yeah. That's, I guess, my stuff with that.
Okay, and then Fred gets a phone call listed as idiot lawyer.
Yes.
it doesn't really say much of that. He doesn't answer it.
Yeah.
The coach comes in, kind of breaks, Seth and Fred up.
Cool guy coach.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what to think of the coach at first in this scene, but I like him a lot later. I like him.
Agreed.
Yeah. As soon as he came in, I was annoyed that he didn't do anything, but it's revealed as to why he doesn't really do anything, and it's also
his boss's kid.
Yeah.
Can't do
that. So then with that, it cuts to a skull and some candles.
Yes.
And a woman asleep in a chair with what appears to be a bottle of whiskey. And Ryder, with your heart flutters, I'll let you take over what you thought about this next scene.
Heart flutters.
Oh, okay. Let me hold on. I'm adjusting screenshots. Give me a second.
Because this is our kind of first take on Velma.
Yeah. I pretty much got immediately that when we cut to the woman on the couch, I immediately thought it was Velma's mom.
The way the hair.
Actually,
color scheme.
It was the color scheme that gave it away to me first. And I'm like, already you've done a lot of character work as to who Velma is going to be, because here we have her mom with a bottle of rum, asleep, like on a chair, like uncaringly almost. And I like I said, it's very, very strong opening. And we do cut to Velma. She's walking into a library, which is, or a bookstore, as we find out later. I thought it was a library, and I'm like, and this is, I think, the best way to introduce her, or in the most classical sense, because like this is where she gets her smarts from, essentially. She grew up in a bookstore. It adds a lot more without having to say much. Just the background tells what character she is like. And I think she arrives wanting to give her mom a package, or a package has just arrived. To which I'm gonna pose to a question for all of you. Is this package supposed to be the demon book?
Interesting.
I'm gonna lean more towards yes, on the fact that when the demon book is shown, it's on the chair.
Yes.
Well, I guess I had a question about the demon book, which I was going to say for later, but since it's brought up, do you think that demon book summoned Fred's killer, or not?
I don't. Ooh, that's a good question. I don't.
Like, did her mom read it and accidentally release the demon?
I'm gonna tentatively.
That's what I thought. But
I'm going to tentatively say no.
I think the book is connected.
Yes.
To the killer.
I do think it's connected.
But I don't believe the book was ever used from the time it was packaged to when Velma and Fred used it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
that's actually very good. That changes a scene then.
If I thought this was because having gone through it again, I actually thought this was the package was supposed to be the book that she was getting, the demon book, because it's kind of implied later on that it was sent to her. But Velma kind of, after announcing herself, coming through the back door, walks in, sees her mom asleep at the table, or behind the front desk, and immediately reaches for a blanket to kind of throw over her. And I think the only part of this that I thought was clunky was when she, says, "I miss you, Dad," and then kind of walks out of frame.
Yeah, that I wrote in my notes as I didn't think that was well executed.
Yeah, I didn't think that was
acting and just placement wise. I don't think it was very good.
Yeah, I think again, actresses. I think the line delivery was fine. It was just I don't think it was needed, because I think we could have. We find out about this later on anyway. in a much more natural way. I Otherwise, I do think this is a very, very good introduction to Velma. We know that she's a very caring person, despite her quirks, and we also know that she's like really smart. And already, if the demon book is supposed to be the package that's being delivered, already very, very integral to the plot. So
I just thought so. At the very end of the episode, we get her mom looking through the bookshelves for the book.
yeah,
Would that imply that the book was already there and had a place and not just delivered?
it might. Like I said, I don't know. In that, if it is delivered, she could have, put it on the bookshelf, like found a place for it on the demonology shelf, and then took it off when she was going to read from it and things like that.
This was all in the span of one day, right?
Crazy fucking day.
Thanks, right?
Yeah, relatively, I think. Yeah, I think it's all in one day because the party's that night.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's possible, but I don't know.
Yeah, like I said,
There's
this
not
all
enough evidence for or against it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, this all takes place on a Monday.
yeah. So if it turns out that the package was delivering the book, I'd be okay with it. And if it wasn't, I'm also okay with it. It's just a way to get her into the room with her mom and I guess have that comforting moment with her. But yeah, I thought the very first scene with Velma was very strong. I got a good sense of character almost immediately.
Something I liked out of the scene as it finished is seeing that all our characters have some situation with their parents.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I like how we saw all their family dynamic.
Yes, it
Rather
is.
than just like seeing Daphne in the hallways at school, or just seeing Shaggy walking around, or we actually have the background, a little bit of background connection
Yeah.
that they all have.
And I think this will only if this story goes in the direction I hope it goes, this will only push forward even stronger the found family dynamic that the five of them are supposed to have, because they're all outsiders and oddities within their own households, almost. And in the case of Fred, he's just an orphan. I think like this is like I said, it's an excellent foundation to work from.
Yeah.
Also, another Sprinks question, because you're more, like I said, more in depth with the Scooby-Doo lore. I know in the Mystery Incorporated animated show, Velma's parents have a bookstore. Is that present elsewhere? Because I didn't know if this was a direct reference to the animated show, or if it was referenced in an earlier piece.
I think it's a reference to other things. I can't remember from what.
I have the vague notion that Velma's mom was a librarian at some point, but it might just be bookstores still.
Yeah, because I know in the original show they didn't really talk about their family.
Yeah.
It's just the mystery of the week. And then in all the other like smaller run shows, pretty much the same story. And then What's New Scooby-Doo? I don't think they really talked about their parents.
No, she had she runs a bookshop in Zombie Island when they're trying to get the game back together.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so yeah, I guess that's just integral to her character then. All right, it's just an observation.
Anyway, we go on to the next scene, which is a nice little transition of lockers in a high school to Fred in the principal's office with Sheriff Rogers and the principal, of course.
I have to admit, I it's very cliche, but I still found it funny. We arrive in them when the principal and sheriff talking without really talking. Is kind of how I describe their dialogue, because it's very, very like cliche dialogue. They're not really saying anything when we meet them, and like I think it plays into the annoyed look that Fred has.
No, I agree that Fred's
believe
not
on that.
necessarily listening to any of them. And then the
until
lawyer
until
comes
until
in.
the lawyer arrives.
Yeah, the lawyer comes in, and this is where I went, hey, I know that guy, because it's Harvey Birdman, who's he was on an older Hanna-Barbera show of Birdman and the Galaxy Trio, but people know him more for the Adult Swim show Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, where he's a lawyer for Hanna-Barbera cartoons, basically.
Yeah, that flew over my head.
That one flew over my head too. So I'll take you with that one. You were gonna say something, Crimson? You look like you're gonna.
Well,
yeah.
with this particular scene, I wrote in my notes, why is this taking place at the school? I didn't know why the principal needed to be a part of this talk, so I wanted to know your guys' thoughts on why this whole talk was.
I would have assumed that this is in between classes, and because he's still a kid and he's going to school, like they wanted to pull him aside when he wasn't busy. Like, and the best way to do that is to be at school, essentially. So I don't think he got pulled out of class for this. I think they scheduled this so it didn't interrupt their classes, and the best way for him to know that he's going to be here is just to have it at school, because that's just where he is.
And I'm sure if Fred said, hey, can I have time to be away from school, I'm sure the principal would be like, of course, completely understood. Like, the principal's someone there to talk to if it's like, hey, I won't be in attendance, or can I, if something happens, like, this is his school, his run school. So Fred being extremely emotionally damaged right now, it's
it's a lot to take in.
Yeah, trying to be like, I'm here for you if you need something.
Yeah,
I understand that. I just don't know why the legal stuff would have to be presented there, like his family's assets and his future of living with his aunt and uncle. Or
I mean, the sheriff and the principal, being that Fred is like he's a star athlete, they might feel responsible for him, just because of the nature of how much time he spends at school for sports. And the sheriff is here obviously for legal reasons. So the principal might just have voluntarily taken on the role of temporary guardian while they try to contact his uncle, his aunt and uncle, and things like that, which can happen. I don't know the dynamic between Fred and the principal, so this is just me assuming. So I'm definitely writing stuff for them here, but that would be my take on why this could be happening here.
Okay.
I'm thinking something about the scene that I liked is all three of these adults are talking to Fred like, we're here for you. If you need help, let us know. But it kind of feels like they're adding pressure to Fred. They're like, take your time, no decisions now, but it's just another thing on his plate.
I got that for the first half of the scene. I think at the end, it was more of like it turned into a little more, okay, their understanding of that he needs to take all the time he wants. Because the principle to me, that when he says that take all the time you need line, that to me was what I think Fred needed to hear. Otherwise, I think I would have agreed with you that they were just adding on pressure.
Yeah. And the one thing I thought of is like, how does Fred feel about these adults? And I went, one is the idiot lawyer.
Yeah.
So he already thinks he's, not needed. One is his rival's dad. And then the other one is the father or sheriff of a nobody, essentially.
Well, we've been established. Fred recognizes nobodies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well established. No, I don't think he'd have much of an opinion on Shaggy's dad, other than if he's the sheriff.
Yeah, I think
because as of right now, we don't see any knowledge that he knows him at all.
Yeah,
because he didn't know Shaggy yet, anyways.
I do feel bad for Fred here because I don't think his dad knows, or his rival's dad knows how he's being treated. And I think that feels off for him. Like, it's a very duality of worlds for him, in that sense of like, one is essentially fucking picking on him in the worst way, and the other one's here just being kind as possible.
Does the principal know his son's picking on him?
I don't think
I didn't
so.
get that at all. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he does. That's why I'm saying, like, I don't think, like, it's a duality of worlds for him because the son is constantly picking on him and his dad is just being genuine with him as far as he knows. So it might be, and because, that's how teenagers are. They're grouped together because of the actions of his son. So he might feel very distinctly uncomfortable with the principal because of that.
I also like how they used silence in this. Fred was pretty quiet throughout this whole interaction,
Yeah,
and
he's not saying much.
typically they don't in these type of scenes. They tear up at the beginning and then they just become part of the conversation. But he was just silent, taking it all in for the most part.
Yeah, I think the actor does a wonderful job conveying his emotions in this scene, being brooding and annoyed and sympathetic when he needs to be, all in one scene without ever saying a word.
I agree. Yeah. It was very well done. I guess with that, we can move on to the next scene, which is Daphne putting up flyers over other flyers of Ophelia, rather than, taking up a different room. She's covering them, which kind of already shows a rivalry.
She's speaking to her subjects.
Yes. Speaking to her subjects, thanks them, sends them off. And then Fred walks by and sees Daphne to show a slow motion. Yeah, slow motion stare of like, oh, find her attractive. But in my notes, I'm going to award the costume designers for something they did, which I thought was very cool. Can either of you tell me what color Fred's backpack is?
Nope.
I will once I get to the screenshot.
I'm not gonna lie.
Like I said, I'll get when I get to the screenshot. I could probably tell you, but
okay, Crimson, from your memory, can you tell me what Fred is wearing?
No.
Okay.
He's wearing his blue
something blue
flannel. I know he's wearing his blue flannel over his
white t-shirt.
White t-shirt, yeah. Is that what you wanted to draw?
Well, that's one thing to draw because Fred has the white shirt with blue usually under, but his backpack is orange.
Yeah, it is orange. Yeah.
And you don't necessarily see the whole backpack. You just see like a strap over his arm,
and I think that's
which connects
perfect.
to his ascot.
Yes, I think that's perfect. Now that you brought it up, really good.
I'm like, that's a good costume design choice.
They knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
Did I have you notice that their eyes were so blue while they were looking at each other?
Yes, I did. I didn't.
I don't know why they did that.
It didn't throw me out.
That was definitely done in post.
Yeah, it didn't throw me out necessarily, but I did notice that their eyes were very blue.
Yeah, they digitally enhanced them in post, and I don't know if that signifies anything or other than
there's the whole.
At each other,
I think the basic point of it is the eyes brighten up or dilate when you see something you like. So there's already, as Springs pointed out, an attraction between them. I think that's the point of it.
Okay.
I don't think it does.
There was more.
I don't think it goes beyond that. Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, well, love at first sight.
Yeah.
And we get Seth barging in on the books.
Yeah.
Which, shatters kind of Fred's thoughts.
Yeah.
But then again, I feel like it's something he already knew.
Yeah.
I think he should have.
I definitely think he knew.
And then just Daphne talking with her two BFFs about Seth and how lovely they look together.
Yes.
And then,
once again, dialogue became a little cartoonish here for her minions, I'm guessing. This is it for me.
Yeah. I can agree with that. It's like your stereotypical backup snobs for cool stuff.
Yeah. And then all the jocks start cheering for Seth, which gets the attention of Shaggy from across the way.
Yes. I do like I do like that Shaggy is involved in the scene in that sense. He knows what's happening. But my favorite thing about the shot of Shaggy here is the wide shot showing he's by himself to kind of hammer home
Yeah.
the fact that he's alone. Or
Yeah, I mean,
I think
that's
there's a
true.
couple
I didn't
people that walk
think
by
about
him,
it.
but no one's like standing around
He's
him.
got no
talking
fence
or-
around him.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, people do show up and walk around him, but like, they actually hold the shot for quite a while, and so he is in frame by himself for a long time, and I think that was a very good idea.
Before we saw that his flyer was of a party, I thought he was going to be running for something for the homecoming,
Yeah.
and
Oh.
I was like, "What? What the heck is Shaggy going to run for? What?"
Homecoming DJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Coolsville's first underground rave.
Yeah. I thought, at least it was implied to me that someone had ripped his poster down.
That's what I got. Like
Yeah.
no one cared about it.
Yeah. I didn't know that if it had just fallen off or was ripped down, but I got the part. I got more that it was ripped down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw like the symbology of it was trash on the ground and no one cared, type deal.
Yeah.
Until later, where Ophelia comes across it.
Yeah. I will also point out, I guess, another little writing thing is when you go back from Shaggy to the King of the Red Devils and Daphne, she criticizes his shirt.
His clothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like Ronald McDonald.
Yeah. He took it, but he was annoyed by it. So I'm picking up already, I think, what the writers are laying down here for like their relationship falling apart almost. Like they're not clicking as well as they think they are, if that makes sense.
Well, Seth's buddies were also making fun of him because she ordered him around.
Yes. So I think again that's also adding a little bit more to that.
Yeah, because we all know where it's going, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's obvious. It should be anyway.
Unless they do some Riverdale twist, I would assume.
Oh boy.
I mean, like I still want the journey to get there. So I'm like, if they're gonna keep the bully and Daphne together for, let's say half the 12 episodes that they plan, I'm okay with that. It's just laying the groundwork here already.
Yeah, I'm definitely seeing it more of Riverdale. I mean, that's just the feel and tone. But one thing in my mind that was like kind of connect, which I hope they don't or took inspiration from, is like from Stranger Things, Nancy and Steve with the Jonathan kind of feel, where Steve's kind of a bully.
Yeah, and they
like
slowly
season one.
and they slowly kind of push each other away.
Yeah. So that was just another slight connection, but
Yeah.
and then that's the wrap of that. To then cut to the school library,
Yeah.
where we see Fred walking in by himself, because beforehand he kind of had like two other people walking with him, but now he's alone.
Yeah.
And Velma there.
Yeah. Velma notices him walk in, and
I think it's fitting that Fred, not being as smart as Velma, thinks that there's just books on demons in the school library.
I guess that's not something I thought about.
I got the implication that he was working on a paper because she noticed like he was using the computer, not a.
That's true. That's what he brought up. He said it was for paper.
Yeah. And that's his excuse. And maybe he is looking for something in the library on demonology, which would be funny.
Yeah, I totally thought he was. I didn't think he was there for schoolwork. Especially when Velma pointed out the demonology stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Sprinks, you liked the acting in here, right?
I liked Fred's acting. I think this was the worst of Velma's acting. It
Yeah, go
didn't
on.
feel very fluid. It felt it wasn't necessarily reading off cue cards, but it did feel like not fully rehearsed, maybe.
I agree that I didn't think it was very good, but I can't really pinpoint why, because it doesn't fall under the cartoony category like the others to me.
For me,
Maybe
it felt
her expressions. But.
For me, it felt more into not necessarily cartoony. It felt more into like in the way that Buzz Lightyear was really exaggerated in the opening minutes of Lightyear, so that all his character traits were on display fully for the audience to see to pull you in. All of Velma's character traits were over exaggerated and fully on display. So I feel like I felt she overacted a little bit here. Not necessarily.
Yeah, overacted, okay. And they also spelled it out.
Oh yeah, 100%. She explicitly tells.
I'm not very social, but I really love facts and science. Okay.
Which is fine. I'm okay when characters spill their traits to me in a manner that also ascribes to their character traits in the way that I'm trying to figure out the best way to describe this. You've all seen Whiplash, right?
Nope.
I have not, no.
God, you're all so disappointing. Anyway, so there's a scene.
That's the one with
yes,
J.K.
one movie,
Simmons, right?
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah.
That's the drumming.
Yeah, it's the drummer with J.K. Simmons. There is a scene in that movie, spoiler alert, where a character explicitly breaks up with someone and perfectly describes his character traits as to why their relationship will not work out. But it's also him telling her that they're going to break up becomes then a facet of his character in a way that amplifies it. So he's not just feeding her his character traits, essentially. We're also learning something about him while he's doing that. In the the fact that he is doing this in of itself is a character trait. I'm trying to figure out if that makes sense to you guys. That
they're self-observant. Yeah. I'm not opposed to it inherently.
Like I said, I don't.
Example,
this is going from that to this. I do think this is a worse example of it. I think they're trying to go for what Whiplash accomplishes very well. I do think some of the dialogue the over exaggeration of her traits does need to be rolled back a little bit here.
So we established that the show is pretty good at introducing characters, and I think Velma here they kind of double dip.
Yeah,
she acts very antisocial, but then she's also explaining that she's antisocial. I don't think they needed both the acting and the explanation at the same time. I think they could have just stuck with her acting socially awkward.
Yeah,
I think it helped that there were only two in the library. There wasn't anyone else around to hear or listen, so it felt a little more comfortable for her to open up. And the fact that Fred was actually listening.
Yeah, especially once Fred recognizes her.
Geometry last year in the back.
Yep, that's me. I think. Other than that, though, I still think I like the scene.
Yeah, I like that Fred recognized her.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else to say about the writing itself. Like I said, I think her traits were full on display. I'm gonna go through my notes really quick. So,
I'll bring up a line that Fred says that I think was very good.
Come to gawk
Fred
at the
says,
orphan.
No, he says, your experience with grief doesn't make you an expert on mine.
Yeah, when he's about to leave.
Did you see red eyes?
Yeah, red eyes.
Okay, so this isn't Fred's first time coming into the library, is it? Because it's not implied. It's implied that he's done this more than once in researching demonology and shit like that.
It's the first time we saw him.
It's the first time we see him. But is there anything in the scene to help indicate that he's done this more?
I mean, other than he's a decent student, what I guess they don't really say You know, Fred
I
was in
thought
the
this-
library last week.
I thought this was the first time he was looking up demons because this is the day after the murder.
I think it was the first time he looked at demons. I don't think it was the first time he was in the library, if that's the question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, something very just small to connect Fred and Velma as a pairing together is that they both have orange on their outfits.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's just a small connection of putting the two together, but
I think just in Fred's character design with the blue and the orange, they're complementary. So
that's also
I
true.
think I don't think it's a connection between those two. I think it's just from design.
Yeah, I think overall I remember liking the scene because it was. I'm a huge fan of trauma bonding. Nothing bonds people like trauma. And while they have different versions of grief, I still liked this scene, which is uh, I think my favorite part of the whole scene was when Fred realized that she was in the geometry class. Like, she pointed that out, because that was a natural way to include some of Velma's character traits in exposition. Because she admits that she does that because she doesn't want people to cheat off of her.
Mhm.
I really, like I said, this is I really I love this scene.
Crimson, did you have anything else on this scene?
Well, I was going to say, as a person that was quiet in the back of the class, I kind of connected with the whole Velma thing there.
Oh yeah.
And I guess a personal experience of mine, except in this example, I was the one in the back this time, but the teacher paired us up with students instead of students choosing,
Mm-hmm.
and I got stuck with the quiet kid in the back, and I brought up their name and stuff I observed, and they were just shocked and smiled. And everyone, even if you think you're not there, someone probably notices you, right?
Goes to show.
That'll Crimson, that'll connect to something later on in this episode that fits with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess at the end of this scene, something I like that they did to give it more of that TV feel was they did that cut to black as if to go to commercial break, and it's also at like the 15-minute mark.
Yeah, commercial breaks.
Yeah, so it was paced. Also, it was also editorially paced like a television show, which I think made it feel better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you're making a show, you got to design your pacing based off whether or not you're gonna have ads or not, which is why I think in some cases Netflix shows kind of fail in that regards, because they don't have any pause moments to wrap up a scene that has a definitive timeline.
Oh, see, that's when you just jump to your mandated action sequence, because character time is over.
Yeah. So I think it definitely helps in general, and in this case, I think it works well putting in a commercial break slot.
Mm-hmm. And while Velma is overacting, this is the scene that made me crush on her again. So there's that too.
I mean, Fred and Velma's interaction is my favorite interaction in this pilot. I think they bounced off each other quite well throughout this whole episode.
I think so.
I can concur with that. Yeah.
So then next, what we have is Fred and Velma walking down, I guess, just open hall.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very interesting school. It's very open.
Yeah, I wrote that down. I couldn't tell if that was outdoors or indoors, because it looked like it was outdoors, but they had lockers there.
I mean, I did go to a middle.
Looking campus.
I did go to a middle school where lockers are on the outside, so that's not wholly new for me.
Interesting. But yeah, I really liked how the school looked. Actually, I want to know where they filmed this at.
Yeah, I want to go to this school.
The whole school.
I don't know if it's filmed there, but did they mention later that this is in Ohio?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Coolsville, Ohio.
Okay. Anyway, so the scene of Fred and Velma walking, something I really liked was being that Fred is engrossed in what Velma's talking about
Doesn't
to give him
realize.
answers of what's happened. He accepts just out of the boot the flyer Shaggy just gives to him.
Yeah.
Yep.
The
Yeah.
screen.
He just takes it and puts it in.
Yeah, the screenshot I have up is actually Shaggy walking behind them, like he's already leaving them behind. So he's got the paper of his binder right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. I guess something we barely touched at the previous scene was Velma just bringing up the demon connection with her. With her
With her
Oh
dad.
yeah, we have to cover
Yeah.
the fact that her dad was supposedly killed by a demon as well, and she describes it in an accurate way enough to point out to just grab Fred's full attention before he left.
Yeah, and then that leads to this whole thing. Ugh.
But yeah, I just think it didn't feel unnatural for Fred to just take the fire. He's not looking at it; he just takes it,
Yeah,
and just holds
Yeah.
it.
That definitely fits. I mean, that's how a lot of people are with flyers. Like they're like, "Oh, cool, thanks, whatever."
yeah.
Like, no,
Yeah.
No one really puts thought when they take a flyer. Yeah, it was pretty good. We learned here that Velma doesn't believe in the supernatural, even though her mom does.
Yeah. Is it in this scene where she says, "Jinkies, Fred, I told you I'm not good at human connection," or is that in the library scene towards the end? I think it's here. Like it starts this scene.
I can't recall. I think it's
that's
later.
Yeah.
Really? I wrote my quote here in my notes, so I assumed it was in this scene.
Well, then it could
Well,
be in
then
this scene.
it could
Yeah.
be here then.
Yeah.
Yeah, if both of us are unsure and you have it written down, it's more than likely on your side then.
I mean, I could be wrong, but you know.
I mean, you wrote it while watching, right?
It would be
Yeah.
very weird for you to write it scenes down and then come back in your
It's
notes
weird
and
that
write
you
it
saw
there.
the future when you wrote it down.
Yeah, I know.
Crazy.
Crazy shit. But
And then Fred makes a deal with Velma.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. No. Writer, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, he makes a deal and he says, put your big brain to use, and then starts walking away. You're right. And then
Yeah.
Fred's got to go to baseball practice.
Baseball
Baseball.
practice.
And the principal comes over the intercom.
Yeah.
He's a pretty cool principal.
Yeah, actually, this endeared me to the principal a little bit. I think last notes I have for the previous scene, just before we jump ahead. Yeah, no, it's mostly that just she doesn't believe in the supernatural. That's what all my notes say. Points to that. So Crimson covered it.
Well, it can kind of connect to the teenage, rebellious going against your parents. So if her mom is for it, she's against it.
Could, but I don't
Could
think
cement it a
that's-
little,
I
but
don't think
I
she's
think-
rebellious towards her mom though.
I don't
No.
think she's
I think
it's
she's trying
necessarily
to-
rebellious. I think she's just trying to help her mom in her own way. Like she wants to figure out a way to scientifically explain it away.
yeah, if she can scientifically understand this demon that it's real and not, just magic, the answer's not just magic. It can help find whatever happened to her dad or
Well, she's not interested. She doesn't believe the demon killed her dad. She's not trying to prove anything. She's trying to prove Fred wrong in this situation. Because she doesn't believe her mom, even though her mom's obsessed and buys books on demonology and gets all these totems and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the place they set up to meet for the proving each other wrong thing is the Starlight Cafe. I don't know if that's a reference. Is that a reference, Springs, that you caught? If it
Starlight
was?
Cafe?
Yeah.
Don't think so.
I
know-
feel like it would be something they'd throw in, but I don't know if everything's going to be a reference.
Well, I know when Scooby-Doo goes to Hollywood, there's a cafe. I don't think it's that one because that's like old 50s diner. And then there's a cafe that they go to in the Alien movie, the VHS Alien movie, where Shaggy falls in love with the waitress kind of song.
Mhm.
But I don't. Either one of those could be, but I don't recall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I guess that's all I had for that scene. I didn't write down anything the principal said, so it's probably going to be more on what you guys.
The
Yeah.
only connection I made right now in this scene was that the Red Devils are in the same place with a demon with red eyes.
Are they?
Well,
the same
Red Devils is
city.
it's in Coolsville. Red Devils is the team, like the school, and then this thing that killed Fred's parents and Velma's dad is a demon that has glowing red eyes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wrote down the principal was pretty decent. And I think this is the scene where I learned that Seth, the bully, was his son. Like, this for me was I guess how
Yeah,
I
because it
found out.
says Principal Summers.
Yeah,
Yeah, when they say that, I had to look back at my notes because I didn't have Seth written down. I had Summers. So,
yeah. So I wrote down Seth is the son of the principal. Fuck. um, and then he goes to the nominees for Homecoming, Daph, obviously, and then I wasn't sure to the relevance of all the other characters outside of her rival, in quotes.
Which is something also I kind of liked, is Daphne was first and Ophelia was last.
That is true. Because he knows, I think, who's his son is dating.
I
It
don't
was
know
not
what order.
alphabetical. So.
Okay. Yeah, and then talked about the football game and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You see Fred playing catch with his baseball buddies. And they said they achieved a lot, but they're never really talked about.
Yeah, they won a bunch of games without and they're not, but they don't get the praise that his son does for being not a star athlete, I guess, as well. Or not as good. Oh,
Yeah.
I also forgot to mention somewhere at the beginning of this podcast, for no real relevant reason at all, that my team, the 49ers, won yesterday, the first game of the preseason.
How is that relevant here, sir?
None
Why?
at all. Not relevant at all, I promise. I'm only bringing it up because I thought it was kind of funny.
Oh, okay. Okay. Congratulations.
Way to go.
Yeah, very.
You really earned that victory for the 49ers.
So were you two just talking about the... No, you
the
never mind.
intercom announcement.
The intercom, yeah. So then the intercom goes to Daphne and her posse, and Ophelia and her posse having a stand down.
Oh yeah, they meet like
God.
fucking out of West Side Story, and I gotta tell you, my investment just went right out the fucking window. Because this is where it's like, okay, we're getting back into Riverdale territory here.
I felt the same way, even though I haven't really seen Riverdale. Like, I bet this is in it.
Yeah,
That's what I got from that.
yeah. This scene held the least of my investment, but I will admit they still accomplish a lot here for the characters.
I got kind of like Mean Girl vibes from it.
Yes,
Just girl v girl.
and I
Also, Ophelia seems defeated. Like, what Daphne said really struck Ophelia, because her next line was... It just felt like she actually got harmed.
yeah.
Oh, I didn't really get that.
I
She
assumed
really carried herself to me.
Yeah, I assumed that she just hit back on equal force because Ophelia starts out with the jabs at her family pride. And kind of that to me was just a reminder of the fragility around that and perhaps expectations around that. And I think at the end of the scene, felt the most frustrated. Daphne, not Ophelia.
Yeah, I felt the same way with that.
Overall, yes.
Yeah, Daphne's comment of "you're used to being in second place, just stay there," something along those lines.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it affected her too much. I mean, it obviously got to her a little bit, but I don't think it was a staying mark like what Ophelia said to Daphne.
Yeah.
So if there was going to be a winner in this duel, I think Ophelia won.
Yeah, I think Ophelia came out on top for verbal sparring, especially with the whole declaring where they were going to go have a party.
Yeah, I think if Ophelia had never said that at all, that the party would have been very lackluster.
Oh, I agree.
It's something I'm going to compliment, I guess, the writers for, or writer. I think they did a good job connecting the storylines.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of the praises I got for it as well.
Yeah, it's really well put together and believable for the most part. I think it all works. The only thing, which will be later with the entity should that shows up, its reasoning for heading to the party is a bit weak.
Yes.
But everything else, I think, fits pretty well planned out.
Yeah, and I do like that. I guess Shaggy, after realizing his poster got ripped down, I guess he just went around and posted more of them.
I mean, that's all he was doing that day. I don't even know if he
was
went to class.
Yeah, I don't.
Handholding.
Yeah, he just threw one into Fred's hands, so I assume he was just passing them out.
And then with that, we cut to some baseball.
Yeah.
Baseball practice.
Yeah, when you think Scooby-Doo, you think baseball.
I mean, and the music that went with this was very fitting of that teen feel.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Sure.
And then, they're just throwing one the ball. Coach is very supportive. Tells them doing good, head to the showers. And then the team does, 1, 2, 3, Red Devils. It's like, yeah, they're all together. And then Coach pulls Jones aside. And I believe both of you earlier said you had something to talk about this one. So I'll go with Crimson first.
All right.
Well, I mean, I liked the coach, and I like how level-headed he was. He wasn't just like, I'm your coach, I'm your best pal. He's like, I can help you, but just to a certain extent, kid. Don't expect me to save you at every opportunity.
Yeah.
And then he kind of, I guess, could be viewed as manipulated by bringing in the team and not letting them down. But I liked it anyways. And
get your head in the game.
Yeah, and one of the other notes before that I wrote was how short Fred is. He was so short compared to everybody on his team. It was quite amusing. I don't know if you have a picture of that.
I don't, unfortunately.
Darn it! But it was.
Yeah, I do agree. He is a little.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, great.
I didn't think it was comically different.
I'll tell you, baseball players are typically very small. Are much smaller than, like, say, football players and things like that, because they.
Yeah, you need those short legs for short running bursts. You need it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all I had for the coach talk.
So then to Ryder, since this is a dialogue part.
Yeah, when I first met the coach, I didn't really think much of him because I'm like, are you not doing anything to, prevent this? And then I think this scene flushes it out even more, like his perspective of, like, it's his boss's son, so he's limited about what he can do. He wants, obviously, the best for him. And this is really the scene where he won me over. I thought the ending with, like, when he drags in the team, I thought that was a bit off because I don't know if he was, like, if that was supposed to be selfish or, like, manipulative, as you said, Crimson. But the rest of the conversation he holds is very level-headed about where his jurisdiction ends as someone who wants to help him. It kind of overshadowed with it. It felt a little bit overshadowed with the whole game talk, like, the boys need you to help them win, or, like, you have to help lead them. And I think I'm okay with that in concept because Fred's being a role model needs to be pointed out to him. Because when you're a teenager and you're dealing with a lot as Fred is, he is essentially a role model, as most athletes tend to be. And I think where the scene ends, that the coach says he's very proud of him, and he says his parents would be too. I think it's a very, very strong line, and it's supported by the scene, really, that earned it. So, I have mostly praise for this scene. So,
I guess another thing for him bringing up the team, I guess, is just another way to get Fred's head on something other than his parents.
Like I said, I don't know, because I think future context to this conversation will help with that. But as of right now, in isolation, with what we have for the story so far, this is definitely building that, building a firm, like, mentorship that this coach would have with Fred that I like.
Something to me that made this stronger to me of being this is a good adult to Fred is earlier principal, sheriff, and lawyer were all very pressured or like, hey, we'll be there for you, do whatever, and Fred was silent. Coach actually talked like man to man with him and said, hey, I can only do so much for you, and put his head on something more positive.
Yeah. And I don't remember, does Fred talk in this scene at all?
Very little.
Okay, because I was the only reason I was bringing that up is like, whereas in the other scene it felt like he was being talked over, here he's in a conversation.
Yeah, in the principal's office, he kind of had like a contemplative / irritated face.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually responds to Coach in this one.
Yeah,
Yes.
on the coach talk, he seems attentive and actually listening to what he's saying.
Yeah. And I don't think there was any music in this scene as well.
No.
I thought that was also an excellent choice. The use of quiet just to kind of zoom in on the conversation, as it were. Because the conversation, I think, is enough to carry this scene because it's very well written for the most part, and I think I'm happy the monologue got its time to shine necessarily without other things kind of interceding with it.
Very.
Yeah, and something else, very minor at the end of the scene. Coach pulled Jones aside to talk to him, but when Fred leaves to go to the showers, his team is still waiting there for him. Like,
Yep.
they didn't leave him. So that was nice.
Yeah, I did like that as well.
They weren't eavesdropping.
Yeah, I like that his team was waiting for him. Like it made me feel like even if we're not meeting those characters because we don't need them to be flushed out because they're not the main cast, it still feels like he still collectively has them as friends. Like they're there to back him up and support him.
Yeah.
Not realistic. My baseball team would never have done that for me.
Yeah. It's not just the coach saying, like, we need you, Jones. It's the team showing it's like, yeah, we're all in this together kind of thing.
Yeah. Band of brothers. Love it.
Yeah. I thought that was very good. And then next we go to Shaggy at his locker.
Yeah, who would have guessed he was a drug dealer at some point?
No.
Also, the song that starts playing,
distributor.
The song that starts playing gets cut real fast.
Oh yeah, because one, YouTube copyright issues, and two, he gets slammed into a locker.
Yeah.
Just by stereotypical jock.
Yep.
It's like, if I remember correctly, and I think I
Tweedledee
do,
and
Devin's the
Tweedledum.
taller one. Yeah,
I
Devin's the
had no
taller one.
idea their names.
Skylar's the other one who's just giggling and like talks along.
Yeah.
Yeah, the non-menacing one. If either of them are menacing.
Well, I think Devin here is a way better bully than Seth. Seth was just rude and mean.
They're all kind of on the same level to me.
Devin's actually a little more threatening.
They're definitely different kinds of bullies because Seth is very surface level mean. This one's here is more, I'm willing to do stuff my king is not kind of thing.
Yeah,
and I think
it's psychological, I guess.
Yeah, this one's the henchman. So
this
one's the henchman. So as we said, there's a point in the scene as we find out later, but
yeah,
it goes to show, I think, that he's willing to do more than just talk down to people on behalf of Seth. Spoilers.
True.
Yeah, which I think is like we mentioned, a good connection, bringing people together.
Yeah.
This whole drug thing.
Yes.
He doesn't really have much to say on this scene, though.
Yeah,
they're both feeling crazy.
Yeah,
they're both feeling crazy, and they want more than just the booze, I guess, and the simple drugs. So
This was, I think, the first mention where they said jangle,
yeah,
which pricked my ears a little. I'm like, did I hear that correctly?
he doesn't run Jingle Jangle anymore.
No, no, it just says jangle, and I
Yeah.
went, oh,
And I went,
So-
oh no.
yeah, and then it gets set more in stone later.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think this scene, I don't really have much to say about it, other than it does a lot for Shaggy's character, in that we understand he doesn't do this anymore or doesn't want to, but he's being kind of like doesn't do drugs anymore or doesn't want to be a dealer anymore, but he's kind of
Yeah.
being forced into that position.
Mm-hmm. I guess this is a good time to bring it up because I was going to in the beginning, but forgot. How do you think they did with the casting for the members?
for all of them,
Yeah.
I think for you mean just the original gang, or do you mean like every single character?
Just the gang.
I think they did pretty darn well.
I mean, I'm used to Shaggy being a redhead, but outside of that, I don't. I think I am okay with most of the characters. Like, I don't have a lot to work with in terms of like, for Shaggy. But I think Fred was fine. Velma's fine. Daphne's fine. Of all of them, I think
Scooby's fine.
yeah, obviously Scooby's fine. I think Shaggy might be the weakest of the bunch, but I'm willing to let him grow on me first. Otherwise, I think most of the cast choices were good. So,
I have a slight question to what you just said, Ryder. In what example is Shaggy a redhead?
is he not a redhead?
No.
So he's
No, I
blonde.
thought he just had brown,
Yeah, he's got brown.
like a lighter brown.
Yeah, I for some reason
Like a hazel.
I guess my childhood brain made that into red, because
I mean, old Shaggy had a red shirt rather than green.
Yeah, no, in old animations, but I mean, like in old animations, the brown hair color could be construed as red. So I
Okay.
think that's kind of where I got that from. So, anyways,
Yeah, I'll throw out that I think the actor's doing his job, but I don't think he fits the look of Shaggy for me. I think everyone else is close enough for me, but Shaggy doesn't really fit for me personally.
yeah, I don't see Shaggy when I first see him. Like I said, I think he's doing a good job as an actor, and he might just grow on me as Shaggy as the series goes along. I'm willing to let him do that because he does a decent job. So, we'll see.
We shall.
I still think they all do very well.
Mhm.
So next we go to Fred and Velma chatting at a coffee shop.
Yes.
It's Starlight Cafe.
Where
May or may not be a reference.
a couple of name drops are dropped.
Yes.
First one being Jonathan Jacobo.
That one I knew right off the bat.
I knew you would.
Yeah. The bad guy in the second live action movie. The was it just Pterodactyl Ghost? I don't remember the name of his.
I think so.
What I think it was just Pterodactyl Ghost.
Well, this one they connected to the pterodactyl being a demon.
Yeah.
So, which sounds like a lot of Scooby-Doo ghosts, normal ghosts. They're just connecting with the word demon now,
Mhm.
or making them demons.
Yeah. So Jonathan Jacobo. I got that one.
And then followed after Jonathan Jacobo is Benjamin Ravencroft.
Which is what I got. Pretty much, that's the one reference I understood.
But in this one, they made it sound like, I don't know if he's a director or they made it sound like he's making movies. Because Velma says, "Have you seen Benjamin
Housebound?
Ravencroft's movie?" Yeah.
He might be the
Well,
he might be the
he's a writer.
so he might just
Yeah.
write the scripts for that.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, he's in the animated Mystery Incorporated as well. That's what I remembered him from. Yeah, I mean, cool.
A lot of Easter eggs here.
Yeah, Ryder, did you have a picture of the posters behind Velma?
The posters behind her?
Yeah, just the stuff on the wall.
I don't think so. No.
Shoot, there was one I was going to ask you guys if that was something or not.
Hold on. I might have one.
Go ahead and ask.
I mean, there was one
I don't.
directly above her head.
Oh, there's
that
stuff
looked-
next. Okay. I'm like, I don't think there was anything behind her. It was an empty booth.
The
It's
poster
above
above her head that looked very intentional to me, and I couldn't really extrapolate anything from it, but I feel like it's there for a reason.
Yeah, I don't have anything from the poster. Sorry, I have the frame of it in one of my screenshots, but that's about it.
It either went right over my head because I presume if it was something I recognized, I would have written it down.
Well, it was a sign that said several things on it. Yeah, but oh well. If we don't got it, we can't talk about it.
Okay. There is something in the scene where they're talking about the murder again of Fred's parents, and
we
it
get another
does
addition.
another flashback, and it shows more rather than reusing the same thing.
Yep.
Which I like more. They're not. It's not necessarily like they're hiding. It's like, oh, why didn't you show all of that from the get-go?
It's just they're slowly unveiling it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree.
Yeah, I do like he basically takes his bat and he goes to swing, and it goes right through the demon as it disappears, pretty much.
Just turns to mist.
Just turns to mist.
I get a feeling that they filmed this pilot twice based off of the trailer, because I went back and watched the trailer after I saw this, and there were a lot of scenes that were completely redone, but were still shown in this. So I don't know if they took shots from a previous filming or to diversify the flashbacks. I don't know.
Maybe.
Because the scene of, I guess I'll say now, the 49er, like in the hallway, in the bookshelves, was in the trailer, but it was not the same scene at all. They had different clothes on, they're talking different stuff. But it was the same scene, just redone. So I don't know if they had two variants of this pilot.
They might.
There's a possibility. Yeah. I don't have anything else to say with the scene of Fred and Velma, unless you two do.
I really like what towards, I guess, the end of the scene where Velma is kind of saying that this is proof that, you're hallucinating, because this is scientific evidence and research that supports her position. And Fred pretty much says, I'm not convinced. And he throws a good bit of logic back at her and says, a good argument examines both sides. And I love the, really, really annoyed look she gives Fred.
Well, I love that that's brought up because that's not true in modern day anymore.
Yeah.
It's my way or the highway. I don't care about your side. Yeah, that was good. I think she said 75% of people who experienced or witnessed trauma hallucinate.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Something like that.
It was 75%, but I didn't remember the exact context. And this is also where she brings up a book of the demon he saw.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she called it Mortius or something along those lines.
Asmodeus.
I didn't go back.
I did not write
go
that down.
back.
The demon is Asmodeus.
Asmodeus?
Yes.
So I get Mortius. Either way, finds that out, and he's very interested because it's the exact same thing he saw. And, yeah, that's pretty much all I got from that scene.
Purely subjective. I really like Velma's annoyed face. I thought it was very cute.
Shocker.
Yeah, shocker. I'm biased. Whatever.
Oh, I brought it up earlier, but I think the chemistry here is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then with that, we go on to the next scene, which is Shaggy and Scoob in a van about to get some drugs.
Yes,
And
with the weirdest drug dealer I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Looking at this van,
They had to steal someone from Riverdale, so that's why.
yeah. Looking at this van, I believe this would be the future Mystery Machine.
That's
Yes,
probably
that's
a
what I
safe
thought
bet.
too.
It'd be weird for them to get a separate van when they already
Yeah.
have one.
And then you got more Shaggy speaking to Scoop now to calm his nerves.
Yeah. Again, really like the touch. Talking to his dog.
And then the brightly yellow jacketed drug dealer
And
in bright
this
yellow.
was on a green screen, right? This
Uh,
looked very off to me.
I don't think so.
I didn't get a green screen vibe. Maybe they just did a good job compositing, for all I know.
Don't know. Just something looked wrong here. I don't know what it was. I thought green screen, and I guess that's up
No.
to everyone else to interpret, I suppose.
I do like
I
that.
didn't get green screen.
Huh, okay.
Oh, bless
That's
you.
right.
Thank you. I do like that Norville introduces himself as Shaggy in the scene. I think this is the first time we hear it, right?
I think so, yeah.
Do the jocks call him Shaggy? No, they call him
No,
Norville.
no, they all call
I'll
him
call
Norville.
him Marvel.
I guess
Which is
so,
why
yeah.
no one knows that he's Shaggy on the flyers.
Even
Yeah.
though he's passing them out in person.
Yeah.
Well, stealthily apparently, because Fred didn't notice him, as no one notices him, I guess.
Yeah.
And this is the scene that really cements the Riverdale connection because he says Fizzle Rocks and Jingle Jangle.
Yep.
And I went, oh, okay, cool.
See, I didn't catch that. I just thought they were stupid drug names.
No,
But
that's
now they're
that's
stupid
that-
drug names
Yeah.
with context.
Yes,
Yeah,
they are.
Pixie Sticks and Pop Rocks.
Yeah, Fizzle Rocks. Yeah, no, definitely.
This drug dealer was so happy and energetic.
Yeah,
I
breaking
love these dark alleys because no one can hear us.
Yeah, breaking the cliches. You know what? Professional drug dealer.
And he gives Shaggy this
kinda-
new drug, Joy Juice.
I kind of also have to admit, I like the confidence that Norville has when he introduces himself as Shaggy. Like, it's a very minor thing. You can see like a change in his stature and the way he holds himself a little bit.
I didn't
Yeah.
catch that. And the drug dealer's like, okay, Shaggy.
Yeah.
Shaggy. Yeah, I mean, it was a fine scene, I guess. It's just, I don't think it really added much, personally. Other than it just showed how he got the drugs.
Yeah.
Something I saw that is I believe, kind of a drug thing is
and I
he
guess the
gave
Hex Girls.
he gave Shaggy 2 for the price is 1,
Mm-hmm.
which
very
is
generous.
like, well, yeah, but isn't that a tactic I believe to get them hooked to
Oh,
get
yeah.
more?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty standard drug dealer practices.
Joy Juice. Woo!
They don't usually double what they give you, but
Yeah, especially since
I would imagine
the dealer said it was his own
own
own drug. Yeah, homemade drug.
Yeah.
Anything
and-
else on the drug scene?
I think it's.
Hex Girls later.
I
Yes.
think a lot of the writing for the scene is done with just Shaggy's expressions, and I think that was very important to convey the fact that he's uncomfortable with this, but he's going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
It did kind of imply inexperience to me, though. Even though it's been established he's done this before, and he even says it.
Yeah,
But he wants to get out.
yeah, he
So that-
wants to go clean.
to
That's
me
where
explains
this.
it.
Yeah, I got more of a fear than a reluctant vibe from the acting. But
I didn't, but that's I guess.
Yeah. I guess that's just me again.
I still think. I mean, it's still explained why he's acting the way he is.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, yeah.
So then we go to the party.
yeah. Party
where-
rave. Woo!
Yeah, where it's sped up and slow mode, sped up and slow mode.
Yes.
As in true party montage fashion, I guess.
Is it ever stated where this party is?
Underground.
Because that's
I don't
something I thought while I was watching it. Like, where is this and how did Shaggy organize this?
I
I don't know if he saved all of his drug money and was like, let's throw a party. Let's rent a place.
Honestly,
and set it up,
I genuinely don't know why Shaggy's throwing parties, but I guess this is going to get into a little bit detailed for later. I like that he throws social gatherings that he's not a part of.
Yeah, I'm glad he does it without trying to boost his popularity.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a
he could've.
question I was going to bring up later. Do you think, because the flyers say Shaggy presents, do you think if the minor 49er never made an appearance, do you think Shaggy would have shown himself more somehow?
He
stayed behind the curtain. Is it
No,
possible?
I don't think he was. I think he's gonna. The only time he would have done it is when all the lights turned off and the band introduced themselves. Like he would have been the one to introduce them, and then he would have just walked off stage.
Okay, so just a voice.
Maybe. But yeah, it shows him. I have a screenshot of him that I'll put up later when we get to the scene. But yeah, it mostly just shows him like looking out and smiling when he sees everyone having fun, and then he just kind of fades back into the hole.
Okay.
And I kind of like the idea that he's very lonely, but he's still helping people connect.
Yeah, it did state on the flyer this is the first. What was it, underground rave? So this actually might be Shaggy's first.
He claimed it as the first Coolsville underground rave. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this actually might be Shaggy's first kind of party make.
Maybe.
Oh, definitely. I would definitely say that was his first party.
Maybe. Otherwise,
they say it's the first, and when we see him looking at his flyer earlier, he's like, "This is it."
Yeah.
Deal.
Maybe.
So I think this was his first attempt at it.
Okay. Yeah. I'm on that. I'm more on that side. I don't know. We just walked away with a different interpretation, I guess. So I think you guys are more right though on yours. So I'm just gonna say you're right.
I mean, I agree. Where I don't think he would have shown himself though. Which brings up a question: his alias of Shaggy. Do you think he used that when he dealed, or this was just an alter ego for the party, so people would actually show up? He just happened to use it on the drug dealer.
I actually think that's the name he uses because later on, because his dad's a sheriff.
Yes.
And if you use Norval, then
that would pull too much attention.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't the jocks call him Shaggy? Because there's no way they're friends with him. They're there just because he has drugs. That's all
because
they know
at
him
school, teachers probably call him Norval.
I don't know. I feel like they would have called him by Shaggy, but nothing to really harp on, I guess, in that regards.
I think one of the only things I have about the party rave scene is that Daph's friend is alone and hits on a college guy.
Yeah, my favorite line in this episode. Are you in college? Yeah. Are you? Yes. Oh, that sounded unsure. It's freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
Do you think he continued with this conversation?
Or
he made the smart choice?
I'm gonna go with a no because I think she's still there when Daphne shows up finally.
Okay. Could have been using bathroom break.
Maybe, yeah. And then I think I just pointed out that I noticed that Ophelia has a gay friend here.
Yeah, he got nominated as.
Yeah, he got nominated as.
I realized that they were, like, that he was a part of her clique here more than in that scene because I know he was in the background scene.
Oh, just standing next to her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Ophelia and two of her clique people were nominated during the announcement, right?
I think so.
Maybe. I don't. Like I said, I couldn't keep track of all the names. So for that one.
And then, that scene wraps, which is not much to it. And then Shaggy sitting on the open door of his van with Scoob, and Devin and Skylar walk up to get the drugs.
Yep. Just gonna.
Yeah, I mean, what drug is this? Something juice? I forgot the name of it already.
Joy
Joy
juice.
George
I
is
like
such a
that pretty much Shaggy quotes verbatim what the dealer told him about the drug to them.
It's a lucky charm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like a charm in a bottle.
Yeah, same sales pitch. He points out that this is the last transaction with them,
And they don't like
and
that very much.
which that doesn't make sense now to me. Why? Because they're not getting the drugs for themselves, right? It's just for Ophelia.
For the usage, yeah, because he only gives them one. So he kept the other one for himself. So, but Devin Skyler just using it because Seth.
Took one for himself, and
Oh, Seth took. Oh,
yeah, Seth took one, and then Devin took the one to spike.
my mistake.
No,
right.
he.
Shaggy
Didn't,
didn't
I
keep
think he
any,
doesn't he toss it back to them? I thought.
I think so.
I thought he tossed that one back in that scene, but that's after the drug deal, which, you know.
Yeah. Well, one of us is wrong.
Yeah.
Probably me. I've only saw this once, so.
And they pretty much.
My mistake.
The bullies.
Shaggy did not keep any. Yeah.
Yeah, the bullies try to blackmail him essentially now to keep the job, to keep the drugs flowing.
Yes. Bringing up little birdie to tell his dad about his.
Yeah, a little
kids'
cliche once again with
stuff.
the writing.
Well, yeah, it's like I said. Personally, I think all the jock stuff wasn't too great.
Yeah.
Yeah, did I have? Yeah, I didn't really have much for this. In the background, I think you see the Hex Girls at this point, or is that later still?
Still later.
That's still later.
God.
Yeah, that's.
How many times are they in this alleyway?
I think
3
after
times, apparently.
after the bullies punch him in the eye, he waits around, and then the girls eventually show up.
Yeah. Speaking of that, something I like that they added, they gave Scoob a bit of like character for himself.
Yeah, he's police trained.
Yep.
Well, I was just gonna say that he was cowardly
A little bit.
because Scoob's like, "Get him," and he just doesn't do anything.
Scoop said that?
No,
Wow.
Shaggy says, "Scoob, get them," and Devin and Skyler actually, take a step back because they're like, "Oh, dog,"
shit, dog.
and Scooby just looks at them.
Yeah, so then just like makes a sound and then gets behind Shaggy and walks back into
Yeah.
the van.
Then Shaggy gets punched in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah. And lackey number 2's like, wow, good punch.
Yeah.
Yeah, walk away.
Um.
And then with that, I believe the next scene is Daphne and Seth pulling up in their car.
Yes.
More freaking Seth.
Yeah.
What can I say about this man other than he sucks?
Jeepers were late.
Yeah, cheapers.
Which they didn't really say why they were late, right?
I think they were just late to the party because the party's ongoing now.
Fashionably late.
Yeah, but they didn't give one, though, right?
I assume what I assumed that they were late for was because he dropped them off at the drug deal, but we find out later that they were there ahead of him, which is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this part I don't think makes too much sense because I think Daphne would have been there on time, and they should have given a reason why they were late, which they didn't. I guess that could be a nitpick, or I don't know, but didn't add up to me.
Yeah.
And
then we. Sorry,
I took care of it.
Yeah, I liked Daphne's reaction to Seth explaining to her the plan for her to become homecoming queen.
Mm-hmm.
And
which is what you understand the connection of the drug. Like it's not for the henchmen. It's to use.
Yeah. Which was a nice reveal for me. But to quote Tony Stark, not a great plan.
Yes. And even Daphne immediately ripped it apart and be like, she pointed out at me.
Yeah. But high schoolers, so fucking fine, I guess. I don't expect you all to be extremely intelligent.
Yeah, and I wrote, Seth had no confidence in Daphne during that scene.
I know.
If you got to resort to cheating, then I think she should have taken offense to him just saying that he's cheating for her.
Yeah, I do. Like, if it's not brought up here, I do think it should be brought up later, because I like that it bothers her on a character level, but I also think that it should also be a planted seed for why eventually these two are going to have a fallout.
Yeah.
Like I said, the writers have done a lot here that they could work with.
When he said he he took care of it, what do you think he implied before he
Before
said the
he
whole plan?
before he came up with the plan, when he took care of it, I'm like, I was at that point, I didn't really think of anything specific, and I was just like, okay, what did you do? Because I would have had the same reaction as Daphne. I'm like, which was, uh-oh.
Yeah. And then
Because
confirm your instincts.
the last thing I need to, I'd want Seth to do is think on his own.
Well, yeah, the fact that he said I took care of it, but Daphne's essentially been around him the whole time, so it's something he had other people do,
Yeah.
which I think is more of a dangerous feel. It's like, who did you get in trouble, or like what have you done to someone else, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Took her out.
Yeah, it's like you didn't do it by your own hands, your own means. So,
Oh, he's got his loyal lackeys to do it.
Yep.
and his loyal lackeys made Shaggy do it. They didn't go out and get drugs.
And they went to the only source they knew that could get them drugs.
That's also true. And with that, it goes to Fred and Velma yet again, but this time at the bookstore.
Yeah, bookstore.
Yes, they're there to look for demon books to further prove either Fred right or wrong. Yeah.
And the demon book is just sitting in a chair, like right up front.
Yeah, I wrote that was quite convenient that the one book Fred picks up is the one that
Yeah.
actually matters.
It is convenient, and that's why I said that's kind of why I went with the whole package thing earlier, because it would help give credence to why it would be there a little bit. But that's up to the future episodes to kind of lay the foundation of. So like if she like in the next episode is asking Velma where she put the package and stuff like that, maybe that could help. But it's not. Yeah. Otherwise, it's very convenient. So, and to be fair, it is a very eye-catching book. So even if it was on a shelf, I think you would notice something weird about its cover.
Yeah.
And they're about
And
to
it's
walk to a
also-
demon section. I'm sure there's a lot of interesting looking books.
It doesn't surprise me at all that Velma knows Latin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I took
that's
that
fine.
one in stride. Yeah, that wasn't an issue. I do. Well, I think the reason that it would stand out as far as the cover Crimson is because of it would be pushing against the other book. Like you'd in if it was in your bookshelf, you'd see the skull part of it still. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. It wouldn't be flat up against.
Yeah.
But
Otherwise,
like
I would
said,
agree.
I think a lot of like cool looking demon books I've seen in media isn't usually a flat book either.
Yeah.
It's usually something
Yeah,
popping
but
out of it.
usually if it's a cool flat demon book, though, or like if it's a cool demon book, it's usually relevant to the plot, while others are just flat surfaced.
Oh, so Fred was breaking the fourth wall. He's like, "This is a cool looking book. I think this would be good for a TV show."
Yeah,
Look, all
maybe.
these pages falling out.
Uh,
Something in the scene that I did like, because they've already established it in the back, is Velma doesn't believe in the supernatural. So speaking things out loud from this ancient book with stuff happening,
She's very
no effect
stiff.
on her. Yeah. Fred is asking, can you read this? Can you explain it to me? Because Fred can't read it.
Yeah.
So she has an intention as to why she's saying it out loud. So to me, there's reasons why it's not just like, oh, of course, speaking ancient Latin out of a demon book did this, like, you idiots. It's like, no, they both had their thought processes already shown as to
Yeah.
why.
The only reason Fred could understand the book is if it was read out loud to him. So
Yeah.
that part, yeah, it doesn't bother me. They did a good job justifiably having to read it out loud just by virtue of the characters being who they are.
yeah, I don't know if this is an acting decision or directorial decision, but the fact that Velma was like yelling out the incantation instead of just talking, I think she should have just been talking to bolster that. Where she's just trying to tell Fred it, but she's like chanting it pretty much.
I
Uh,
thought she started out trying to speak normal until the lights started flickering, and that's when she started shouting it, or like it started chanting it almost.
Yeah, brother, keep going, keep going. Seizure warning for these lights.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
And then lights stop, and it's like lights stop, and then she drops the book, which I guess is just like fear. Like, oh, why are the lights freaking out? Maybe.
Well,
But it was weird.
Can't she see the?
Yeah, by the time
What's
she
happening?
dropped it, she was done reading the passage. So it was a little off in terms of being delayed. I think the fear would have kicked in a little bit earlier. Ultimately, if the ghost / monster of the episode appeared, I think that would have been enough reason to drop it. But she hadn't seen it at the time she dropped it.
No. Then
Yes, I agree.
Fred picks up the book, remember? And the lights start going again, and Velma over Fred's shoulder sees the minor 49er.
Yeah, go team. Oh wait,
It's just a minor right now. We have no idea what it.
Yeah, just a minor.
I actually thought it was a
minor.
pirate when I first saw it, because of the hat. Then obviously I got corrected when they referenced my football team. So
Yeah,
Please
they did a
tell
good
me
job
this was-
making them pretty cool.
Writer, please tell me this is not your first instance
This
of
is
knowing who the
his
minor
first
49 is. Oh.
yep,
I recognized it immediately, but
this is my first instance of where I recognize him. So
it was in the second live action movie, but he doesn't remember it.
I don't remember anything about the live action movies,
Yeah.
guys. So this is this
It was
is
also
my
in the
introduction.
animated.
Crimson, I guess a question for you then. Which minor 49er do you think looks better?
I think the movie looks better, but I really like how this one moves. He's very menacing and scary in this one. The other one, not so much, even with the fire breath.
Yeah, I like this one more. This one kind of's got more of that zombified look. The other one's just green, right? He's very green. But he's also a ghost.
It is a ghost, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, this one just running and charging them was.
Oh yeah, you felt it as soon as it started running for sure.
Yeah, I wrote in my notes that scene of him charging and then turning dust. I wrote Mad-Eye Moody's
Yeah.
snake trap
Yeah,
from Order. No, was that right? No,
That was
that's
Order-
Kings. That was
Half-Blood
part
Prince.
one. Yeah,
I
Was it?
think
Oh, that was. You're right. Nope. That's definitely how it's part one because then.
yeah,
zombie
that's
creature
where they
popped
get
up.
the locklet.
Yeah.
Whatever, locket.
yeah, I think
right.
one of the more clunky lines in this scene is kind of Fred doing a character reading of Velma, like explaining if it works and it changes everything, science fails you. That line, I like in concept. I don't think it really. I think it was a little too on the nose, though. As far as him reading Velma's character, pretty much.
Yeah, I think it would work if they knew each other longer.
Yes, so would I. If this was longer than a day, like they were on this investigation for a week, just throwing out a random number out there, and they've had this partnership for a while, he would have learned why science is so valuable to her, and he would point this out in a very similar situation of why she should do this. But here it felt clunky, unfortunately. I don't think there was enough time between them to support this. But I do like the line and concept. So.
In my notes for this scene, I wrote meddling kids because the two of them just summoned a ghost demon without knowing.
Yep. Yep. Like I said, at least the science line just wasn't as natural as a lot of the other dialogue has felt. So I just felt the need to point it out.
So where is Mom at?
Yeah, fucking drunk off her ass still probably.
That is true. Mom
She
was
slept
nowhere to
through
see.
all that.
I guess
She's not at
yeah,
work because this
Miss-
is her work.
Miss
Yeah.
Dinkley.
Miss Dinkley.
And then with the finalization of that scene, we go on to where are we? And then Devin and
we are-
Skylar sitting on couches at the party.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Seth
there's not
walks
much
in.
in this scene other than they bolster what was said in the car, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And once
Not
again,
much was
I
added.
just want to point out the stupidity of this plan and just them waving the drugs around and tossing it to each other out in the open and not being
They're at a
any
rave, makes sense.
and not being secretive about it. Yeah, but they're at a rave with all their fucking friends, which is what makes this a problem. It's them being more stupid for the sake of it. I felt like we have enough context as an audience what's going on, but they felt the need to kind of ham fist it, which is what I don't like about the scene.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess I can agree. It didn't really affect me too much at the time, but I guess pointing it out, sure.
Yeah, it was an
They
issue.
could have
It's an
gone
issue.
into the bathroom or something.
Yeah, it's an issue in that because they're at a party with all their friends and they are trying to do this to someone they know who is friends with everyone around them or at least knows everyone around them. It just added more to layers of stupidity to their plan, which I already don't like really in concept, but I give them credence because they're dumb high schoolers for the first one. This one's too obvious to pass up. Like this one was too much for me, I guess. Like there's only level. There's my tolerance for stupidity in high schoolers has a limit. This was kind of them reaching that limit when they were just being open and casual about the drugs in front of people that they know.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't have much for this. You got anything, Springs?
It was very out in the open, but everyone's at a rave dancing, and it's also a newer drug, so it's not really identifiable, I guess. And
Yeah,
it's
but-
not like them pouring it in a punch bowl or something.
Yeah, I mean, I guess well, why would you risk it? You know,
That's true.
like you're this late into your plan working. Why would you risk it at this late in the game? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Which is also, I think, a reason why, even though Seth examines it, he tosses it back because he's like, I don't want to be the one caught with it.
Yeah. So like, don't get me wrong. There's still some character work being done here. It should have just been done in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Something where they're in isolation.
And after that, we go to Shaggy bandaging, or, taking care of his wounded face and talking with Scoob.
Yep.
Yeah, right. This is where I found out Scoob was police trained.
Yeah,
Yes.
retired police dog. And something I can clearly see in this scene is whatever bandage wrapped thing Shaggy's holding is
Has
the
the food
attention.
in it.
Yeah, the attention
Yep.
for Scoob,
Yeah.
which I think is still fine. It wasn't. I don't know how many takes they did of it, but it still worked.
Yeah. Like I said, I much prefer this than the CGI dog. So
Yeah.
I will take it.
Especially whatever CGI this show would have been able to come up with.
That's true.
So I'll definitely take this.
And now, Crimson, you can take away something you've been trying to talk about.
Oh my god. This is where Evanescence shows up in the back. Well, while Shaggy was there trying to leave Scoob, I saw in the background these girls, and then it
Yeah.
looks like they went back.
Yeah.
Was
Are
that
they-
just some weird civilians in the background while they were filming this movie? And then we actually see them, and it's the Hex Girls. And I was like, oh, okay, that was just kind of weird in the back there, but we got the Hex Girls now.
Yeah, and they all get their own little individual lines, which I think is nice.
Yeah, it was definitely
Not
very
over the top.
It was definitely very weird. Because at least I thought it was weird with their introduction because I could see them in the background and I thought they were the random civilians like you did, Crimson. And then they came up, they kind of walked up again like they were taking a cue again. So I thought it was just oddly edited before they. But yeah, I'm fine. They were actual characters. So
And I don't know why they're here, because they're supposed to be at the party, which Shaggy was not.
Yeah.
So that part doesn't really make any sense to me.
Fair enough.
Unfortunately.
Well, they said they were the band hired by Shaggy for the event, but there was just like rave music playing beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, like there's a time where your band will start. So like your club will always play your generic music first, and then when a band starts, that music will be shut off.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I just don't know where Shaky is currently.
yeah, I have
Instead
no
of
idea
just-
why they're there. He might have been there waiting for them. Maybe like he was there to do the drug deal, and that's why he got a little miffed that they were late because he didn't want the two groups to meet. I
Which guess I could buy that then. They didn't show that, but I guess I could buy that.
They definitely don't like explicitly state why they're there, or like why they showed up at this time and stuff like that. But yeah.
I guess. Furthermore, I guess it could have just been concept, but in the original trailer, the head Hex Girl, the actress played a vampire in the trailer. She didn't have the red hair or anything. She was just played a vampire. So I don't know the impact of that.
That might be saved for something down the line because we know there's something going on with the Hex Girls here.
That is true.
So I don't know if the original trailer was just a bunch of random things they filmed just to build hype or what, and they didn't have a solid layout at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they just used the actress for the Hex Girls now instead of whatever vampire thing they were going for. That's an observation I had seeing the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's pretty much all I got for the Hex Girls bit. I don't remember exactly what they were saying other than we were hired by Shaggy.
That's kind of it.
Yeah.
And they told Shaggy because they don't know who Shaggy is to take their equipment.
Yeah.
Yep.
They didn't recognize him. And then we go to Fred and Velma again. This time actually talking about the minor.
The minor 49er?
Naming him. Yeah.
This is where they name him, and I like that Velma disapproves of the naming.
Yeah, Velma's like, we haven't had minors here since 1949.
Yep.
Bit on the nose there. But totally works.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
Fred comes up with something.
Well, I think, Fred always comes up with the stuff.
Yeah.
The traps, the plans. So.
Yeah, he's the playmaker.
Yeah.
And this is where they discuss the 13 pillars.
Yeah.
Which to me, I don't know the 13 pillars. I don't know what that is, but when Scooby-Doo lore, that reminded me of the 13 ghosts of Scooby-Doo.
I assume that's what they're going to do. The 13 ghosts.
I think so, because after watching this, I looked it up, like the 13 ghosts. I'm like, wow, I haven't thought of that in a while. And the chest, it's kind of like Pandora's box that like holds all the 13 ghosts in it. But the look at the front of the chest resembles the front cover of the book in the show. Just a big horned.
It would make sense if that's what they're going to go with the 13, like the 13 ghosts.
Yeah. And then it has the callback of the flyer that Fred has on hand.
Yes.
Hmm.
I think is also nice.
Yeah, the minor 49er was the first one out of the book to scout.
Yeah. All I will say is since they opened a portal to hell, they need to get Buffy over here.
Yeah. Is this the new Hellmouth?
Look, if they get Buffy over, that's technically getting Daphne over.
It's true. It's very true. Yeah, so this was the weakest part for them meeting for me was just the
light thing.
The ghost going towards the light.
Yeah.
There's got to be...
It was a little odd. The justification.
Other places that are brighter. How would this ghost know where a rave is? Like, it's not like he's on a hill and he's like, that's a bright light, let me go there. It's inside a building. So I don't know how he even figures out where the rave is.
Well, don't they, like, Fred's like, it's a Monday night. There's no light, and they look outside and they can see the lights from the party.
Which
Did
would,
they? I didn't notice that.
they don't, but I think I think that would help fix the scene a little bit.
Maybe-
I don't remember
trying to
them
think.
looking out to see the party.
Maybe they didn't look up. Maybe it was like a transitional thing of the town and the lights were going. Can't recall.
It
I
was
thought I saw.
so. Well, the transition was okay. We cut from them to the Hex band starting their music, and then we have Minor 49er in the street, and then we kind of see him kind of in a dark alley walking towards bright lights in the street, which is weird because the rave is still inside a building.
Okay, that's probably what I'm thinking of then.
Yeah.
That could have been while I was looking down at my notes and missed that.
Yeah.
So yeah, then they get the flyer and they're like, "Oh, we're going to a party."
This is also where another problem pops up for me, is where I think Fred brings up why they shouldn't get her mom's help with this, and she's like, "No, let's not get her to help."
Little
I feel
odd.
like they should.
Yeah.
Seems like a quite obvious thing to do.
I assume that Velma has good character reason not for wanting this, but I still would have wanted more. Because Velma has character reason for not wanting to wake up her mom and that, because she doesn't want to like involve her mom in something that's now real. She doesn't want to suddenly justify all her mom's like what her life choices and things like that. She doesn't want to give credence. So Velma has enough character reasons not to want to involve her mom, but I do think they should be involving an adult.
Yes, but we established
Go
that
get the coach.
this is a portal to hell. This is kind of a big enough problem to get the person that might help to help.
Do you think at this point Velma still believes, or still doesn't believe?
I
I think
would
she's
not believe her if she.
I think she's in
didn't
very,
believe it.
very. I think she believes it. I think she's in denial. The main issue, at least the reason I'm more okay with her not going to her mom specifically, is she doesn't want to justify all the actions her mom's taken since her dad's passed away.
Okay,
I guess that's what I got to deal with.
that works. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it's justifiable, at least for me, for that one specific person. I still think they should have at least tried to get to an adult, and you could have had the whole cliche thing where they tell the truth, because this is such an absurd truth that the adult just hangs up on them.
Yeah.
And
And
yeah,
then-
we could have done that.
And then after that, we go back to the party because it's just going back and forth, and we actually get a live performance of the Hex Girls,
Yeah.
which I think helps that it's not just a like any song play; it's the song from
Well,
the Witch's
it's-
Curse.
Yeah.
Ghost?
Yeah.
The one people think of when they think Hex.
That's true.
Because what they got, I think across all the things they're on, they got 4, 5 different songs the Hex Girls do.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm not fully sure on that, but yeah.
Well, I know in the Mystery Incorporated show, animated show, there was, I think, at least 3 songs they played in that one.
Okay.
Either way, they got a catalog, almost enough for an album, I'd say.
And
Yeah.
then Shaggy's peeking from behind the curtain.
And he's in his green t-shirt. Yay. Sorry.
Oh yeah, he is. No, you're right. And then Skylar and Devin come up on Ophelia to drug her drink.
Very
yeah.
obviously.
very
might I add.
nonchalantly, and like there is some issues with this, but obviously I think she would know that they are not her friends.
That's
True.
true. I don't think she would have assumed drugging, though.
No, I don't think she would assume drugging, but I think she would still be put off by their sudden appearance.
I have for this scene, I have something I like, something that's middle ground, and something that I don't like.
All right, let's hear it.
Like real
Go.
fast. I like that someone saw them do it.
Daphne?
It was, Daphne saw them do it, and it's just that someone actually saw it happen. I mean, it's
She was
out there.
watching because she knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The middle thing is it was Daphne. It's like convenient that it was her, and it's something to do with Ophelia and whatever. The thing I didn't like at the bottom was how the heck did Daphne see it? She's behind them, and they poured into her drink in front.
Yeah.
She had
Yeah.
no angle to see it.
Yep, I can agree with that. I'm fine with
So-
Daphne. I'm fine with Daphne being the one to see it because she knows to look out for something, and maybe Seth could spilled the whole plan to her off screen, which could be true, but I can believe her looking out for something, but she would not have seen it directly and known that they poured it into her cup or something of that nature.
Yeah.
And then I think I have one line
But-
between. Oh no, that's
Yeah, I
Actus. Yeah, never mind.
I was just gonna say the reason why I don't think it's all bad is because Daphne has intentions as to why she's looking at Ophelia. She has knowledge of like Devin and Skylar, and it's like, oh, they're near her, something's happening. Like there's these things that Daphne knows, and that's going on. It's just she didn't see it happen. She just knows something happened because I guess they were next to Ophelia very fast, and then both of them walked away.
Mm-hmm.
I guess another thing to dogpile the scene on is why was Ophelia by herself? She's the popular girl. She's got a posse.
I assume no. I don't think she's by herself. She just has space between her and her posse, essentially.
Yeah, I thought she was standing next to two other people.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah,
she's by.
no
but-
one saw.
Push
Yeah,
themselves.
it's
Gets
they.
spiked.
They're listen. They're not on camera, so they're not on screen. No, it's a fucking problem.
I mean, everyone's looking at the band.
Yeah, I think they need to do more, especially when her friends are kind of pushed aside by the jocks. Like if one of them ran interference, I think it would have been better. Rather than like one distracting her and the other one pouring it in. Like one of them has a specific job of running interference for her posse, and the other one just has to do something quick to distract her while he pours it into her drink. I think it would have been better that way. Like I said, it's not a great plan. And the scene works in concept. I think there need to be a few more tweaks to make it work on screen, though.
Okay. And then after that, we see Daphne pushes the drink. Ophelia, gets offended, grabs someone else's drink, tosses at Daphne, embarrassing Daphne.
Yes.
And then the miner walking outside.
Yes. Mr.
Let's go
Minor
find out.
49.
Daphne was originally being kind by spilling the drink, but Ophelia got her mad, causing Daphne to insult her.
Yeah, it
with the whole,
it interprets. Sorry, go on. Just you go first.
Well, yeah, because she went in with good intentions and she seemed content, but then once Ophelia was insulting her about spilling the drink, then that got to her.
Yeah.
She
And
brought up the whole carbs
Cal-
thing.
calorie comment.
Calories, yeah. And spilled the drink on her, and that gets made fun of later, which I'll talk about.
Yeah. And then I think we do then we do the miter in the street,
Yeah.
and then we
And
come
he hears
back.
something and he goes to there, and then Velma and Fred walking into, I guess, kind of the entrance towards the party
And
where Daphne runs by them.
yes, and I have to say, because I rewatched the scene because I was really bothered by something later. I just want to say that there is a frame of Fred holding a bat in this scene. It's beneath the camera angle.
Is there?
Yes, there is a frame of it. You can see the bat handle of the bat. It bothered me later on because you don't see it. So
So you thought he didn't even enter with a bat?
yeah, so I'm like, well, that's a continuity error, and then I went back and actually I rewatched the entrance of them walking in frame by frame, and there is a very small part where you can see the handle of the bat in his hand. So I'm like, okay,
Alright.
no longer a
There you go,
problem.
got saved.
Yep.
Okay. They should have had a wider shot to show it more then.
Absolutely, they should have had a wider shot for it, but it's no longer a writing problem. That's a filmmaking problem.
Gotcha. I have written in my notes that Fred's got a plan, which sounds like Fred, and then the classic split up.
Yes, the classic split up. I like that Velma is frustrated by it, and I also like that they have Velma regurgitate his plan because she doesn't like it. So she kind of regurgitates it in an annoyed, sarcastic way. By the way, Velma, you're doing great. Love you, honey.
I love that she said minor 49er, and you said the name.
Yeah, that was
like
that amused me as well.
Which was pretty good, building up that dynamic further.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty much I got for that.
So Velma goes to the light panel, I guess mixer in the back, to try to work on the lights.
Yeah, and
then the miner walks in. And he sees like a group of people and then charges.
Yep. I agree. Yeah, that's pretty much what happens.
Something that I think my first watch, I'm like, that's a problem. And then I went, no, that would actually be fine. Is Velma is turning all the power gauges on the lights down till they're all at the bottom. But even when they're all at the bottom, there's still light in the club. And I went, well, it should be pitch black. And I went, on my first view, I went, it should be pitch black. And then I went, no, because that's just the lighting connected to that device. There's still lighting that's
just
like
the
light
stage
switches
lighting.
on the
That's just stage lighting. Yeah, I have pretty much had the same thought. I didn't expect Velma to be an expert on how to turning the lights off necessarily, so I would have been okay with her just turning them all down to like the minimal setting, because it might be a different thing to turn them off. But that's neither here nor there. You're right. So
Yeah. And then as soon as Shaggy sees 49er, he runs to the van.
because he cares about Scooby.
Yep.
And also he's a coward, which is going to placate into character growth.
And we get Freddy versus the miner.
Yeah, where he throws a cup, a plastic cup at him.
He had that whole classic like stance of because this is a bit of a trope where someone is trying to get someone's attention and they just kind of like they put their whole body into the throwing motion. He's a pitcher, I'm guessing, for his team.
He definitely has to throw.
Yeah.
He said he's got a very strong arm, so
I would have
he's probably pitcher or outfielder.
I would have appreciated something more than just a cup, because I think it would have helped.
Yeah.
Well, what else would be at the club? Someone's bong? I don't know.
With that low, I'll say a high that goes on. I guess this fits in makeup department. That when he hits the miner with a cup, the miner's very dusty.
Yeah.
Which I guess brings up something. How do you guys feel about the miner being corporeal as a ghost?
I think it's okay because they don't say they keep calling it a demon.
Yeah, I think that gives it more credence as to why it's more corporeal. And honestly, I think corporeal things can be a more tension-filled threat.
Yeah,
because
then
if it was incorporeal and they couldn't really interact with it, that could have built tension of it going towards light, and they have to keep redirecting the light to keep it from succeeding in its goal. It'd be more.
Could have been an option.
It would have been more
planning instead of fighting.
Yeah, they did this specifically to have the fight scene. He fucking Thor hammer calls in his pickaxe.
Yep, I wrote that in Thor summons a pickaxe.
Yep.
I just said Thor pickaxe.
Yep, I said Thor pickaxe too. We're all on the same page on that one then. I do like the reaction that he has as soon as he gets the pickaxe. I'm actually going to put it on screen like right now. The fucking expression that he has when he sees the pickaxe, he's just like, oh, come on, that's unfair.
Yeah. I know the pickaxe and bat scene is sped up a little at parts.
Yes.
I do think the choreography of what they did accomplish in it was nice.
Yeah, I think the choreography was decent, pretty average. There were slow parts to me.
Yeah. Ultimately, I
And
like I'm a sucker for the chokehold slam, so I was okay with that.
I wrote that as a negative of how long he held that.
Yo, yeah, like
He
I
was
said.
holding Fred up for like 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, I agree. Also, Velma, honey, you really should have bookmarked the page.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's just
No, that's something on
Just-
Velma.
Just dog ear the page for
oh,
that. I mean, come on.
yeah. So knock against her. Knock against the demon for chokehold. I like it aesthetically, but I recognize that it's a fucking problem that he held him for so long.
Yeah, like I said on the Miner's introduction, I like his movement as a whole.
Yeah,
He feels
feels-
very weighty.
He feels very
Yeah.
weighty and erratic, which I thought was good.
Yeah, and his I guess downward swings he was going to do both to Fred and Velma both felt like they were going to do something like strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
I like that it wasn't immediately when Velma started doing the incantation that he just immediately went to Velma. It wasn't until like it actually started taking effect
Yeah.
on him.
I think it took him. It was either taking effect or he realized what was happening, because he
Yeah.
was too engrossed with Fred, which was the point.
So I also like that it took him a little bit to focus his attention to Velma.
All right, going back to the Thor hammer call pickaxe. I just want to read my note out for you guys. And as a Minecraft fan, I just die a little on the inside.
why? Because it's not diamond.
Yep. Well, no, because I've lost. Because if I could do that with my pickaxes, I would never lose them.
Oh, I see.
Oh, gotcha.
You need loyalty free
Loyalty,
on your
yeah.
pickaxe instead of your trident.
Yeah. All right. Sorry.
And then the 49er demon gets banished. And it's better than, I mean, Ryder, you brought up the Halo show earlier. It's better than a flash of the character being gone and something in post covering them.
Yeah. Because you know what? People actually cared about what they were working on here.
Yeah. The actual effectiveness of him.
I'm assuming that these people actually watched a Scooby-Doo show at some point in their life.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they did their research.
Do
Yeah,
you think he turns to like dust? Like, how do you explain what happened to him? You just
probably dust.
okay.
It's a dusty old miner. I don't know. But it was in front of Daphne when it got expelled.
That's true.
Yeah.
Daphne saw the thing happening as well, which helps in my book of an easier way of incorporating
Her?
Daphne into the
Yeah,
group.
she just incidentally walked in on them, and now she's at least curious about them.
Now
Which
they have
also-
a common thread together.
Yeah,
right now.
Which also makes sense to me because she ran off to probably go clean herself in the bathroom and came out.
Yep. Like I said, that was a good setup, I think.
Yeah, I
And
guess
then
that was the club.
finishes- Yeah, that finishes up the club scene. To then, I think now it's. No,
Let's
okay.
see,
I thought it was
I'm gonna-
Fred narrating again.
Yeah, I'm gonna run through my notes real quick a little more just to make sure to make the thing. Oh, the miner breaks his bat, doesn't he? The miner breaks Fred's bat.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, he crushes it
Oh
in
yeah.
half.
Okay.
Snaps it in half.
We gotta.
Axe beats bat. Apparently.
Yeah, as it turns out. I did think. I guess it leans more into the cliche of because she didn't bookmark the page, dog ear. They got to play out the cliche of her finishing reading it in the nick of time.
That's true. It was cliche.
It's a little on the cliche
It's
side,
cartoony.
which is cartoony. And like I said, it's not necessarily a criticism right now. It's more of a the fact that she's reading. She finishes reading at the last minute is. Well, it's cliche, but
Convenient.
it's convenient that because she forgot to fucking dog ear the page that she was supposed to read. So she spends like the first portion of the fight even up until he's getting choke slammed. She hasn't even found the page at that point.
I get what you're saying. Okay, yeah.
So that's more damaging to her. It's damaging to her character a little bit. but
Especially as a book lover.
especially as a book
Definitely
lover,
recommend it.
uh, it's not horrible, but it's just has to be noted. Um,
Yeah.
do I have anything else for the scene though?
The scene does end a bit abruptly.
Yes, they pretty much.
But
They
then
pretty
again,
much.
it is finished.
Yeah, they pretty much cut from Daphne to. I think you're right. They just cuts from Daphne to Fred giving another narration.
Well, I
No,
think it
cuts to
shows
Daphne and
part
her
of the
friends
school.
at the school.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's during the narration, isn't it?
I don't think so.
Oh,
Her friends were talking about
I
that.
thought
It was
first, but yeah.
Okay, no. You're right. You're right. The narration starts when she sees Fred.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're back at the school, and I like how they tried to explain away what
Back at
happened
Sunnydale High. I mean Coolsville High.
there. Yes. We got one of her friends saying that it was a methed up homeless man, which I guess makes sense since no one saw it get killed.
Yeah, that to me was explained away in the narration in a way I like.
Yeah, and the other friend said, I don't know if either of you caught what she said. She said someone tried to scare them. I didn't
Oh yeah,
hear what the
someone's just
someone
trying
was.
to intimidate them. They think it was like a prank by Ophelia to intimidate them from getting the crown. I think.
Okay, Ophelia. Okay.
Hmm. Don't quote me on that one because I'm only guessing of why they would because they bring it back to it was just someone trying to intimidate her because she's Daphne Blake.
Yeah.
So.
That's true.
And we got people on the bench next to them while they're walking, laughing at Daphne. And Ophelia walks with, well, Ophelia or her posse, I don't remember which, make fun of her for.
I think it was Ophelia. Yeah.
Yeah, saying that she's got a dry outfit now. Like, is that funny? Is that worth mocking someone over that they got a drink spilled on them by someone else?
If it's Ophelia, if it's Ophelia actually delivering the line, I'm okay with it. It would be a bit of a stretch if it's someone else.
Well, there was that, but there were people on the bench laughing at her before Ophelia even showed up.
Oh, I didn't think they. I didn't know that.
Daphne's a laughing stock now because of that.
I didn't know they were laughing on her. I actually thought they were in conversation with each other. Like they were laughing at. They were laughing. They were looking at her.
It could be either.
Yeah, I thought they were laughing in conversation with one another. I didn't even think that it was at Daphne for the people on the bench.
Need to look up the scene now because I'm pretty sure they were looking at her.
Someone definitely, I don't think it was Ophelia.
Well, I mean, I know her gay friend or whatever was there, and some other people.
Blake?
I don't know the names, but so I know it was at least her posse. I don't know if she was there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. It was just lame. I don't know. I don't think it was enough to make fun of her with.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Well, she still seems to be taken in stride. She's keeping her head up. So.
Yeah.
And it's very short, but I guess that's a nice little just introduction to show Fred, and then go into Fred narrating.
Yeah, I did like that transition. Quite a bit.
Because then it goes to Sheriff Rogers with a empty vial of joy juice.
Yep. The Shaggy report.
Yeah. The Shaggy. Which tells me that they've already checked the rave and probably found this vial there.
Mm-hmm. And I think, like I said, I like Fred's narration of the scene of how people explain away the unexplainable. So they're looking for something to grasp and understand, and thus for Shaggy is the scapegoat.
Yeah. And towards the end here is where a bunch of kind of references pop up, and this one I had to look up, but Crimson, I think it's someone you recognized.
Shoot. Was it? I don't know which senior.
Okay, so I'm talking about the scene with Sheriff Rogers with the joy juice, and then his deputy opens the door.
Okay.
Deputy Bucky.
Deputy Bucky?
I looked it up. Deputy Bucky is from the Mystery Incorporated show, the cartoon show.
I don't remember.
Oh.
Did he have a
Okay.
heavy presence in that one?
I don't know. That's the one you said you watched. So I only saw a couple episodes.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in years. I just surface level stuff. I mean, I'm sure if I see what he looked like in the cartoon, I'd be like, oh, yes, that guy. But I did not recognize him in this, no.
Gotcha. And then this is also a scene where it states that Sheriff Rogers does not know the connection between Norval and Shaggy.
Yep.
No, he does not.
The worst sheriff ever. Doesn't even know his own son.
It also kind of tells me that the sheriffs have never had a situation with a drug deal gone wrong or anything to link to the name Shaggy.
Yep. Shaggy's just.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm assuming Shaggy was just good at his job. Simple fashion.
Yeah. It sounds like this is their first time they're hearing of the name.
Well, I mean, it's not like he was like a big dealer. He was just a distributor at school, right?
True.
So it's not like he was higher up on the drug stuff.
Yeah, and then I think I don't really have much to say about the sheriff scene other than he's now somewhat aware of the case that the gang is going to be on.
Yeah, he's trying to figure out Shaggy, and then Fred's narration is they didn't care about the minor. The minor wasn't even really discussed.
Yeah, because they needed something tangible to fucking go after. And like I said, people explain away that inexplainable. So that was fine for me.
Yeah, I think they did a good job here because this could have easily been manufactured drama later down the line. But I think they did a good job establishing it and just making it normal drama now.
Yeah.
So,
it feels like it was a bullet dodged while also being a bit of fresh air, or, relaxed tension.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Shaggy's making a classic,
Shaggy sandwich.
Quadruple decker sandwich.
Yeah.
And then the next thing is Fred and Velma still researching and
teamed
working
up
together.
In the library, yeah.
Yep. And then the next thing is Velma's mom trying to look for the book.
Yes, which we talked about.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
A little bit.
Yeah, it might be that, wasn't it? Okay. I was just trying to get my scenes right because I know it's Shaggy that walks in on the Hex Girls at the end, but
yes,
yeah, that's at that very end.
And then Mrs. Dinkley makes a phone call. And the person on the other.
I didn't write down what the guy said.
I don't recall what he said, but it did sound like with intention that he already knew what has happened.
Yeah, it was.
He brought up the 13 pillars.
It was with the expression that whatever was going to happen already happened. I guess everything went according to plan, despite. The setback, which is that Velma and Fred, I guess, read the book and summoned the demon. That's what he would have wanted to happen.
Yeah, the guy said the pillars have awakened. It has begun.
Okay.
Yeah. What has begun? We don't know.
The end of the world.
Then we go to Shaggy looking at the Hex Girls.
Yeah, and the Hex Girls are performing what I can only describe as a ritual.
Yeah, a ritual to. I don't know if they're trying to banish because it's like the demon already got banished, so they're bringing it back to absorb its power or something.
Yeah, this brings up a whole question I have.
I have no idea how their magic system works, so I'm just going to nod and say that this is a ritual.
But they did say a name that caught my attention.
Guess I'll say my question first about this is, so if the Hex Girls know this incantation without the book, why didn't they do this in the first place instead of having Velma and Fred do it?
I think it's not to be publicly shown.
Did they get summoned out of the book as well?
I don't know, but I think they didn't do it because it's around public.
They were sent by
there's a lot of people there, so they waited.
They were sent by a priestess, right? I know they said a name. Someone sent them here.
High Priestess Van Ghoul.
Which I don't understand at all.
Well, it's a slight sex change because in the cartoon it's Vincent Van Gogh played by Vincent Price,
All right.
who's a magician.
Okay. I mean, they're making it their own, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Um,
So I thought again, it's just a name catch that I'm like, very cool. Another name thrown in there.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the correlation between them and that book because they seem to have been able to do the ritual without it.
they did the ritual
Yes.
without the
So
book.
why didn't they do it earlier?
And we do see the magic, like they see that the minor 49er turns into like lights that goes into their necklaces, so I can believe the absorption thing as well. Like I said, I just don't know what's going on. It's a hook, I guess.
Yeah, that's why it's at the end.
Yeah.
I think so. So that was, I think, cool, and probably I think my favorite VFX look is when the miner's like punching, like trying to escape,
The
and
shield
it shows the shield is actually shown curved like a cylinder.
Yeah.
I thought that looked cool.
Cool. It was very
I was
very
not
good
the
for
opposite.
effects.
I was gonna say I didn't really like how the VFX looked, but I mean I know it's low budget and all that, but
for what they had, it looks pretty good.
yeah.
It's not like Doctor Strange
It
spells or
actually-
anything, but
Yeah, I like that it actually showed depth, like the curve. I could actually see the curve. It wasn't just like a flat line.
yeah.
And then I have one last note,
Is it something we covered at the very beginning?
kinda. I don't know why, but I wrote Tom Cruise knockoff.
Oh, smoking in the alley.
Yeah, the guy smoking in the alley looked like
Yeah.
Tom Cruise.
I
A
didn't
little.
get that at all. I need to look at him again.
I didn't get that much. I was too focused on DS Vault.
Yeah, from the beginning. When you see his full face, I absolutely did not look like him. But
Okay, I brought it up. Yeah, I guess from a side profile in the dark, it could be passable.
and then it's I guess the next demon, the Black Knight.
Yeah.
DS Vault.
Do you think they're gonna play the music? Get the licensed music from the movie?
I don't know, but what I do know is that that they're making a second episode. That this show has not been canceled.
I'm a cowboy. I'm a steel horse. Alright.
Crimson, please, we're gonna get flagged.
Oh shoot,
And then that's the end of the show.
Ryder. That's from the Scooby-Doo 2 movie. A great scene.
I believe
Yeah.
you.
This night though does not look as good as the movie though. I'll say that.
No. The one from the movie
This
looks
one
like
looks- This one looks like realistically armored, and by realistically I mean just like the traditional like armor you would expect on a
Yeah.
Crusader.
this one looks like the Black Knight from Holy Grail. The one from Monsters Unleashed looks like Farah's enchanted armor from Overwatch.
That's pretty fair. Yeah.
Fair enough.
All right,
with
and then,
Oh
then we get
boy.
the song
Show.
Mystery.
Yeah.
after the
Oh,
credits.
good song.
That was already
Yeah.
complimented.
From the beginning, that we said was not overused.
Yeah, fucking loved it.
pretty good.
Yeah.
I guess. Sorry, Ryder, you go.
I was gonna say like it was quite the adventure this was. And we're done. It was fun.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, I haven't heard it yet, but I am surprised, Ryder, that you actually took a liking to this.
Really?
Because I know how much you hate Riverdale.
It's a better pilot than Halo.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like I said, I don't think this is without flaw, but it is. It is. I did like it. It was good.
Yeah, we had a good balance of complimenting and critiquing it.
Yeah.
What now, Sprinks? What are we doing now?
well, what we're doing now is our wrap up of. I'll go with Crimson. What did you think of this pilot?
Is this summary or rating?
Summary first.
Okay.
Ratings last.
So I liked it. I was worried when you said it was similar to Riverdale when I had watched it,
Mm-hmm.
and I definitely got those vibes from what little I've seen of Riverdale and heard through the grapevine. I agree that that most of the actors, I think all the actors did their jobs well. I just don't see Shaggy and Shaggy visually. Um, I've complimented a lot about how they connected the characters. I like the relationships between them thus far. The overarching story has intrigue. There's not much for it yet. It's just the 13 pillars.
It's TBD.
Yeah. So I guess good hook on their part. Yeah, I'm excited to see it continue. Unlike Halo, this is something I would continue watching
Yeah.
on my own. So, I guess that's it.
And then Ryder, your little summary of how you felt about this.
Well, I'm gonna get the obvious one. Velma is wonderful. Velma is perfect. Velma is queen. All right, done. Let's move on.
Cool.
So I obviously this was pitched to me as kind of a Riverdale-esque kind of show, and obviously that worried me a lot. While I do find the first season of Riverdale entertaining, I don't find it very well written. But this was surprisingly nice. I it's not without flaw. It even I think the cheesiest lines of dialogue have their charm to them. I think that with this pilot, they've built a foundation to carry it forward. It to go like finish out their season. Like there is something here, as Crimson said. There is intrigue for an overarching plot, and I would continue watching this. Unlike Halo, if there was stuff that was more accessible to watch, or that we could readily watch after this episode. I think all the actors did a good job. I'm kind of in Crimson where I don't really see much of Shaggy in the actor, but I'm more than willing to give him the benefit of the doubt and see if he can grow into the role. I think the paranormal stuff is handled mostly pretty well, as this is pretty much my first stint in, at least to my memory of having the Mr. Incorporated game dealing with the paranormal. And I think it's a natural fit. At least this show made it seem like to me it was a natural fit for them. Yeah, I think the show is pretty decent, actually. I was surprised, and I'm happy to have walked away feeling having walked into this being skeptical and now leaving as a fan excited for more. I think that was the best I could hope for. So
it is nice having something that respects what came before instead of spit in your face about it.
Yeah,
Quite wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a nice change of pace to what we've been dealing with the last few years.
So full production versus fan made.
Yeah,
I mean, in this example, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to say, those companies out there producing shows like Halo, you're just throwing money away. You just need to find some talented people and who want the property and actually play the games. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. But yeah.
Yeah, Sprinks, what about your...
Well, there is a reason why I recommended this as a pick. Like, as listeners listening, I was the host, so I picked this for our season 2 choices, and I thought it was very well done. I think the creators and people behind it, which is the actors of Fred and Daphne, put a lot of heart and a lot of dedication and time into the quality of what they created. I absolutely love all the little Easter eggs, past things, not just from the cartoon, but from the live action, from different versions of the cartoon, just kind of all over. And hopefully they stick with that with the future and continue to do things. I think it would be awesome if they touched on the history of Morgan Moonscar or something. So just all these little nits and bods. I think all the acting was overall good. There were some scenes, as I said, like just the initial introduction was a bit like hesitant, and then it got better. I actually think the actor who played Shaggy did fine, especially in this interpretation
Mm-hmm.
of the show. I think sticking with one of the more iconic villains rather than a one-off or a self-made one was smart. I know I forget the name now, but the demon that from the start that killed Fred's parents is, to my best knowledge, a new original character, such as the villain in Monsters Unleashed was a kind of a newer original character. But they went with Minor 49er to be incorporated in that, and I thought that was very good. And the hint of like Black Knight and what the Hex Girls are doing, and the name of like High Priestess Van Ghoul and all these other like connection, I just really like. I really liked the lighting. I liked the shots that were used. I don't think anything was too much. I don't think that like during the fight scene it wasn't handheld. It was still relatively stationary, so I like that. I think this is the only thing so far where I've actually commented on the costume design. Yeah, there's just a lot of things I liked about it.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, we'll go into ratings, and let's start with writer.
All right, I'll get the objective one out of the way. This time I'm gonna bounce between, because that's just evidently what I do. So I think for me, my objectively, I thought this, like I said, there's the plot here is easily to follow. The world building is wonderful. And as with most works, it's the characters that need to kind of carry it through to the finish line. And there's something to work with here for all the characters. I think they all have great foundations. This is only episode 1. All the characters have great foundations, and while the delivery of their dialogue can be clunky at times, and the lines can be cheesy and cartoonish, I still think they capture the spirits of the characters that they're playing. So objectively, I'm gonna give this a comfortable 7. I think.
All right.
For the writing, I think there are flaws with it, but for the, I guess, what we get out of it, I'm trying to figure out how best to phrase this. The what is done well outweighs the bad in terms of writing for me here. I yeah, like I said, I don't really have much, but I only really have mostly praises for the characters. Most of my stuff is, I guess, can be more plot oriented. It's a difference between like when Velma's didn't like save her page. That's more of it's like half a plot problem and half a character problem. That's why this is not higher, because those little things are littered throughout. Those little like I guess flaws are littered throughout the episode, which is why it's not higher than a 7. But I do think it's a solid 7. It's kind of earned its place. Subjectively, this is an easy 9. I actually enjoyed watching this. I remember laughing out loud when certain scenes were happening. I remember having to pause when I was worried about Riverdale scenes coming up, and just mentally preparing and then going through it and realizing it wasn't as bad that I had expected it to be. So this was quite a joy for me to watch, and I heartily recommend it. So.
Wow. Now, Crimson, how do you top that?
Or how do I make it worse? How about that? No, I as well will start with my objective. I pretty much agree with most of the points the writer said here, and I pointed out where I know it's low budget, but objectively I have to look at what's presented here, and the CGI I was not the biggest fan of. So I hope down the line it'll get more support, because some of the creatures they could potentially get in this show could be CGI heavy, and I'd like to see them done quite well. So got a little nick on objective for that. I've talked about how I don't think the jocks are particularly well written or well acted for the most part. But I think the main cast, well established, good foundation, like Ryder stated. I think I like how all the parents are unique. That they're all very different from one another. And yeah, I don't know. Just it all went pretty well. So I don't want to copyright, but I had it written down already. So I also said 7 on objective. And subjective, I quite enjoyed this as well. The Riverdale-esque moments where I didn't pause it like Ryder, but I did prepare myself mentally for those moments. Did knock down a little bit in my enjoyment. But overall, it was quite fun. And I liked finding the nods that I could catch. And Springs pointed out several I didn't catch. So I gave it a 7.5 on my subjective. So, I'm sure this all surprises you, Sprinks, on how high our ratings are.
I know.
It a bit, just a bit.
Yeah, I mean, when you pitched this to me and said it was Riverdale, I was really worried, and like I said, I came in expecting to hate it, and I didn't. It was actually really well done. So, kudos.
Yeah. I guess I'm up. I kind of already gave most of my praise of. I really enjoyed the Easter eggs of them knowing what they were talking about, even if it was incorporated differently. Like the Benjamin Ravencroft, they made him sound like a bit like his movie rather than his book, or High Priestess Van Ghoul. Just these slight changes to make it its own thing, but still connecting to the past. I like that. To make it its own thing, so it's not actually like carbon copy. Costume design, lighting, all these things that they put into it, I really liked. And I will say my score was, my original scores did change. I'll say that.
All right.
After our talk and going through this, I did change both my scores by a 0.5 to each. So my objective score is an 8
From an
8.5.
Okay.
I kind of already had like that lighting thing of Freddy going down the hall and how the lighting didn't equip there, or Crimson, you were talking about the book and why they would do that with the book, and like all these questions of like why would the miner need light, and like all these like kind of flaws that both of you said that made it go down for me a little, that I didn't originally see. So objectively an 8. For my enjoyment out of a subjective level, though, I'm gonna give it an 8 as well.
All right. From what originally?
From a 7.5.
Oh, that went up. Yeah.
It went up.
You enjoyed it more after our talk.
I did.
Yeah.
Because the two of you also brought things in that I didn't think of for myself on my own time, so it made it better.
Nice.
Fair enough. Yeah. Good choice, Springs. Seriously. Breath of fresh air.
Oh, thank you. From all the other stuff we've been doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's highly rated.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know what Sinister's going to say about it.
Yeah, we'll have
Unfortunately, couldn't make it to this recording, but I'm sure during the recap, he might have a few words on it.
Yeah. Or we'll either have him speak about it during the recap or at the start of an episode.
True.
Either way, it'll be told.
Man, I got something controversial to say, because technically the Batman episode comes out before this. This is higher than my Batman rating.
It is also higher than mine.
I was trying to avoid dating this recording.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
but that's fine. It's already out of the bag. As of this time of recording, I think this is the highest rated thing we've given.
Yeah, it is.
So big kudos to
this
for
For
team.
you, Sprinks, it's right up there with Lightyear for you.
that's true. I did enjoy Lightyear.
Yeah, this was.
So yeah, big kudos to Dade Elza and Jessica Chancellor, if I'm pronouncing those correctly, and Dante Yor, who directed it.
You guys did a wonderful job.
Very well
and
done.
if this podcast somehow ever reaches your ears, keep up the good work, and I will be in your chats donating to you at some point. So.
And with that wraps up this episode of Cheap Seat Critics. Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Make sure to, if you're listening on YouTube, we do appreciate that subscribe and like. It does help us out for being kind of a newer podcast. And if you could spread the word with family and friends, that would be helpful.
Don't forget
If
to
you're
click the
listening
bell.
if you're listening on a audio format of like Spotify, the 5 stars would be appreciated. No real pressure.
Follow us on our socials and
No real pressure. All right, Mr. Principal.
I'm saying I'm trying to give a thanks.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. Be sure to follow us on our socials, and we'll catch you next time. I've been a geeky writer.
I'm Crimson Maroon.
and I'm Sprinks.
And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Toodaloo.